Today on America's Day at the Races, sophomores take the spotlight in respective stakes from Oldsmar, Florida. After a debut tussle with soon-to-be crowned champion Echo Zulu, Outfoxed has gone on to claim back-to-back stakes. She'll try to make it 3 straight in the Gasparilla. In Hot Springs, Arkansas, it's the long-awaited return of a one-time leading Kentucky Derby contender from last year as Concert Tour debuts for reigning champion trainer Brad Cox. Can last year's Rebel winner shine in his 4-year-old debut for his new barn against some accomplished older company? All that and more coming up on this Saturday edition of America's Day at the Races. Beware of that guy. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Good to have you with me here on FS1. I'm Greg Wolf. Today, all eyes in the racing world will be on the return of Concert Tour, who looked like a star in the making last year before suffering the first defeat of his career in his final Derby prep. He'd pass on the Derby. He'd go on to the Preakness. He was disappointing there. He'd come out of that race with an injury. He has been sidelined since, but his new trainer, Brad Cox, believes this could be a stepping stone today to perhaps one of the most prestigious races in the country, the Met Mile, later this summer. Let's take a look at today's races presented by Claiborne Farm, Tampa Bay, and Oaklawn for you from Oldsmar and Hot Springs, Gasparilla. That 3-year-old filly race coming up at 2:50 Eastern Time. Wayward Lass from Tampa as well in that 5th season where we will see the return of Concert Tour. We look forward to that. See how good he can be. With me, Maggie Wolfendale. Good to have you on the desk this afternoon. And we have a couple of stakes coming up as well from Tampa Bay, including that Wayward Lass and a rematch of the 2nd and 3rd place finishers from that Rampart last start.
Yeah, we do see Don't Get Cozy in here, as well as All Worthy, the beaten favorite that day for Saffie Joseph as she was coming back off of the layoff. We last saw her in the Grade 1 Cotillion. Now, she is a filly, Greg, that wears that extension blinker over her outside eye. So, thus, that leads to a lot of tardy starts. Now, if you go back to her start 3 ago in the Charlestown Oaks, she ran really well. She was against the bias that day, but maybe she needed her last start. The field wire by Dan Storrow, really lovely bred filly for trainer Ralph Nix. But Don't Get Cozy, I think she ran better than her. The odd thing about Don't Get Cozy, Greg, has never been around 2 turns.
Let's take a look at when they matched up in the Rampart back on December 18th. Dan Storrow would win. Don't Get Cozy would get 2nd. All Worthy behind her in 3rd.
Yeah, you can see as they come around the turn that extension blinker on All Worthy as she wears the white blinkers with those Slam Dunk Racing silks. Now, we do see Don't Get Cozy. She gets a cozy little trip behind the pace, which evidently, Dan Storrow went gate to wire. I thought a dominant run, kind of getting back to some of her faster races, which came earlier last year in 2021. You got to respect her. I mean, she has run consistently, has not gotten a break. 17 starts in 2020, 14 starts in 2021. She shows up and runs a race, but now we're checking out the return of Concert Tour, Greg, as he comes back off of that chip taken out of his ankle. First start for Brad Cox.
And this was probably his finest moment. This was his victory in the Rebel when he was on the engine, doing his thing on the front end, when he looked like he could go on to potentially be one of the favorites leading into the Kentucky Derby. He'd lose his next start when he didn't get to the lead. That's going to be, I guess, the big question this afternoon. Fresh off an 8-month layoff, how forward is he going to be in this race? He's
going to have to deal with the horse to his outside and Mucho, who's stretching out in distance. How is he going to get to the lead over that horse? Though he does have that advantageous, more inside post. I'm not as big a fan. He's meeting a salty field for his first start back as a 4-year-old facing older company, 3 millionaires, 2 other horses that have won stakes at Oaklawn in that road to the Kentucky Derby in their previous 3-year-old form. So it's a salty field for him to come back in.
Take a look at this field of veterans that do have pretty accomplished resumes that he's going to tackle in this spot. Thomas Shelby, he's a 6-year-old we saw this summer at Saratoga. He's won 7 of his last 10 starts, rated our superstar. He's a former stakes winner at Oaklawn. Snapper Sinclair, multiple stakes winner on grass. He's just missed in a stake on dirt at Oaklawn. I know Gary Stevens, our Hall of Famer, he was very high on Concert Tour last year as a 3-year-old. 8 months away. What can we expect today, Gary?
I'm expecting good things, but like you guys mentioned, this is not an easy spot to come back. But a horse like him, there are no easy spots to come back. He's already a Grade 2 winner when he won the Rebel Stakes, and he's been in graded races in all of his races except for his first race when he broke his maiden. I'm looking for a big race from him today, but he's going to have to prove it off of this long layoff. We've got a great crowd here today, a blustery day. Snow flurries going on right now. It's 32 degrees, wind chill factor of 22. It's only going to get worse as the day goes on, but I think we're going to be finished up with the fifth season before the heavy stuff starts coming in, guys.
Gary, thanks. We'll check back in with him in a little bit. You know, Brad Cox, he got a very nice horse who started in a different barn that came to him by the name of Nick's Go, went on to some pretty good things, who, of course, won a Breeders' Cup 3 Mile Classic. We're going to see him one more time. Maybe this is his next Nick's Go. We'll see. Concert Tour has a lot to prove, but the Met Mile seems like on the radar for Brad Cox with this horse.
I like the plan of keeping him at a flat mile. I saw this horse last year, Greg, in that Arkansas Derby. He was not that impressive as a 3-year-old relative to his competition. He's a smaller horse, so I think keeping him at shorter distances is actually best for him. Now, does he adapt a new style? He has shown the propensity to be able to pass horses, at least in that San Vicente he did. So he's going to have to kind of go back to that running style once again here. But obviously, blinkers do come off. We'll see if that changes anything as well. But reunited with Joel Rosario, who did have a lot of success with him last year.
And in good hands as well. Debuting for the new barn of the reigning champion trainer Brad Cox, who just announced again he's one of the 3 finalists to win that award again for a second season. Here's a look at today's action, again presented by Claiborne Farm. Tampa Bay races 6 through 10. They're fast and firm and fast in Oaklawn as well. That 5th season will be race 8, the feature on a terrific card this afternoon. You could, of course, play all the action we bring you by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com, download the app, get signed up, started, and take advantage of that $200 deposit match bonus with this promo code right here, bonus 200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Set the stage for race 6 at Tampa. The Gasparilla 7/8 of a mile for 3-year-old fillies, and outfoxed, who we talked about in the open to the show, had to go against Echo Zulu, an eventual champion we all expect in her debut. Since then, she's won 2 stakes by over 20 lengths combined.
It's funny, Greg, you know, there's added money for Florida breds in these 2 races. We just saw the Pasco run before this Gasparilla. The 2 favorites, or likely favorites, I should say, are Florida breds. Obviously, Strategic Bird has a decent chance for trainer Mark Casse, but it's all about Todd Pletcher.
One of the very few stakes races in the state of Florida that Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher has not won. Gasparilla, he'll try and get his first with Goddess of Fire, breaking from post 4, making her 3-year-old debut. We'll be back.
DeMarchelier offers breeders a rare opportunity as the only son of emerging sire of sires, Dubawi, standing in Kentucky. His picture-perfect pedigree includes 10 Grade 1 winners under the first 3 dams. Dubawi and his sons and grandsons at stud have established stars on both turf and dirt. Now his first foals have arrived. DeMarchelier, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Good to have you with us here on FS1 on this Saturday afternoon. We're going to get into the Gasparilla for 3-year-old fillies going 7/8 of a mile. We got to find out that guy's nickname. I'm sure he has one. Took a look at the field here. We talked about Todd Pletcher going to break. Has never won this race. He hasn't been in this race very often. The Gasparilla, Goddess of Fire, 7-1 on the board right now. What do you make of her chances?
I think the cutback in distance helps her, but she seems to be a somewhat lackadaisical runner in that Hector Diaz is going to have to ride her every inch of the way. In her last start in the Tempted, she broke well, and then she completely took herself out of the contention in which that race wired by Gerrymander that day. And then two, Magic Circle and Nest, who came back to win the Demoiselle, running well in that race. So it's not as if it's a bum kind of race, but Goddess of Fire turning back and watching her work, at least 3 back on XPTV leading up to this, she had Irad Ortiz aboard. She worked on the outside of Sweet as Pie, who ran well in her debut and then disappointing in her next start. She really had to be ridden on the gallop out, Greg, and she just feels like a horse that riders are really going to have to stay on top of, especially with the cutback in distance of a furlong to this 7/8.
Nice crowd on hand today in Oldsmar, Florida. We're approaching the 5-minute mark to post here for this Gasparilla. You can follow along and get all the stats on the horses, trainers, and jockeys with free Equibase past performances. That's where you go, NYRA.com/TV schedule, and download your free PPs on all the races from today's program. 3-5 favorite. That was a quick look at her. She just left the screen, out Fox. So back-to-back stakes wins by 22 3/4 lengths. Interesting today, though, going to be cutting back in distance from 1 1/16 to 7/8.
Probably good. I mean, watching that 1 1/16 race, she was down on the inside, and she was keen and fighting Edgar Zayas for the first 3/8 of a mile. And usually when that happens, Greg, they don't have much left in the tank. But she easily had a lot left, winning by 9 1/4 lengths that day.
Here's Top Penny. Big price down on the rail.
Yeah, has an interesting pedigree. Daughter of Medaglia d'Oro turns back in distance. The Dam won the Grade 3 top flight. So, yes, that does hint at a bit more ground being more suitable, but this is the first time she's on a fast dirt track. Will have to get a lot faster for trainer Joe Orsino.
Next door, we're going to see Divine Charger, who just missed by a neck to Strategic Bird, who is undefeated outside post, who we'll get to eventually.
Wow, she looks great out on track, Greg. Big, robust filly, nicely on her toes. 2 back, she ran well to be beaten by Girl with a Dream, who came back and won a stake in her next start. And she was getting to Strategic Bird late.
Here's Goddess of Fire for Pletcher, daughter of Mine Shaft.
Gets Lasix for this first start, off a little bit of a break. Like I said, Hector Diaz is going to have to keep her engaged.
All the money on this daughter of Valiant Minister for Bill Mott, the Hall of Famer.
Drifting up from what we first saw her at, she's facing open company again. She has been beating up on Florida breds, Florida sired horses prior.
One of the 2 primary speeds in the race at 6 just went by.
Yeah, Platinum Jen, she is quick, but I don't think she's as quick as the outside runner.
Eros' Girl for Anthony Ferraro.
Huge step up last time. We'll have to take another huge step up to beat these, though.
And the undefeated Strategic Bird. Got to believe this price comes down. It does a notch here. She's 2 for 2, and she is quick.
She is so quick, Greg. That first, just out of the gate, loose rein, easily to the front end. Gets Lasix for this for trainer Mark Cassidy, who has won this Gasparilla twice in the past.
Well, if Platinum Gem the 6 does try and put some pressure on this one, that would set it up beautifully for Out Fox, who's the big favorite.
It would. It would. And maybe that's what everybody sees. But honestly, I do think that Strategic Bird is just naturally faster. But she is drawn outside. We'll see if she can clear the rest of the field.
Let's bring in our moneymaker, back-to-back runner-up at the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, Jonathan Kinchin. JK, good to see you.
Wolfie, that's a compliment, but it's also a shot to the heart. Runner-up. It means I'm the first loser. That's okay. Look, I like Outfoxed here, the 5, a little bit, right? But I'm going to eventually pivot to the 8, Strategic Bird. Here's the thing, is I have a thing for these horses that run fast speed figures as a 2-year-old in September, right, in the summer as well, and then they have that opportunity to improve into a 3-year-old. And there's a natural progression that comes with an expectation of how much faster a horse can run, sometimes 10 to 12 points. So if you take her by her speed figure, add 10 to 12 points, you can see why she's being bet the way she is. The issue is that she is going to come up in price a little bit. Based on the doubles, they're about even. Is $23, I think, to $50 to the 8 Strategic Bird. So they're going to come up and be a little bit closer in price than they appear on the board now. I prefer the 8 Strategic Bird because she ran extremely fast last time. Now, that was in December as a 2-year-old. It doesn't really count, right? It's the very end of the year. We're talking about 30 days here. But she is fast. She's drawn outside of her main competition. And historically at Tampa Bay, you do not want to be inside. So I always defer in a close competition to the horse that's likely to be outside of that one. Strategic Bird will be a better price, and she's drawn outside. So give me the 8 in here. But beware, the price isn't going to be as far apart as you think it will. I think it's going to end up being closer to even money and 2-1.
All right, Jonathan, thanks. There is Strategic Bird, and you got to like the fact, too, that she's proven it over this racetrack in a stakes race.
The only question is, does she get better with more ground? Does she come up a bit short here like she was in that last race in the Sandpiper with Divine Charger, finishing second to her and really getting to her. Look, I'm going to take her in here. I love what I'm seeing from her out on the racetrack too here, Greg. But you got to wonder. I like actually both of the looks of these two fillies coming out of this Sandpiper. But like you said, a little seasoning over the racetrack, I think, helps their cause.
Well, this is Strategic Bird in front. Divine Charger made a couple of runs at her. She did make it very tight late, but you got to like the tenacity that Strategic Bird showed to finish this race, and she did earn a big figure for it. And, you know, as Jonathan said, we turn the page now to her 3-year-old debut. It's less than, well, it's a little bit more than 30 days later, but she still could improve off that.
Well, and like you said, less than 30 days later, they have the recency over Outfoxed in here. Now, Outfoxed was a horse that I actually saw up in Saratoga in her debut. And you can see, reluctant to load, bit keen. She can be a bad actor. Watch what she does going to the gate. I hope she's filled out a bit. She was kind of a Riley-looking individual in that first start. Number 2, though, like I said, I continue to like what I see from Divine Charger. Her first start on dirt at Churchill, I thought was a great effort. She backed it up with that second place effort that we just saw, and goes out for my good friend Jordan Blair, who with that pedigree on top, I think getting an extra furlong should aid her cause.
I was just going to ask you that. I mean, she was getting to Strategic Bird, and now she gets an extra furlong to try and run her down. I think you look at this tote board, and the biggest overlay on the board has got to be her at 7-1. I mean, a neck separated her from the 5-2 second choice, and she's 7-1 right now.
I think it's the familiarity of Todd Pletcher, Bill Mott, and Mark Casse over Jordan Blair.
Even money is JK predicted without Foxed, and that price Strategic Bird getting a little bit closer to the 5. Meanwhile, Goddess of Fire for Todd Pletcher. This is going to be her 3-year-old debut coming up. She won her debut, and that can be sometimes a bad thing in hindsight to win first time out. She did it at Saratoga, and then she showed so much promise. Pletcher put it into a graded stakes race her next start.
You know, Greg, I thought she took a lot of money that day, but looking at her in the paddock, I thought she was a filly that was going to benefit from getting a start. She's just a little heavy, a little stuffy, but she grinded out the victory to get up by a neck with John Velasquez aboard. And then they automatically stick her in the Grade 3 Pocahontas, which was dominated that day by Hidden Connection, who I still think is a very talented runner. And then what happened in the Tempted? Maybe something did come out of that race in which she arose with a little bit of an issue, or maybe they just said, let's regroup here, like you indicated, you know, one first time out, let's take a step back, let's regroup, let's get her back training steadily, working well, and go back to what worked, and that was sprinting in her debut.
Well, if anyone could turn him around, this is Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher, and 7-1 right now on that barn in any race. Especially in Florida or New York, is very tempting with Todd Pletcher.
Yeah. Excuse me. And I do think totally up against it in that last start in the Tempted. Like I said, just wired that day by gerrymander and took herself completely out of the running early on, which she just could never make up the ground that was needed to get even close to gerrymander or the second and third place finishers who, like I said, came back and at least complemented that running of the Tempted in the Grade 2 Demoiselle.
Well, again, the 2 speeds in this race. The 6 Platinum Gem, she's won 2 in a row after a defeat in her debut. Strategic Bird, the 8 at 5-2. She's undefeated. She's a stakes winner on this track, and she just earned a much bigger figure than what Platinum Gem earned in each of their last starts.
Yeah, I mean, Platinum Gem, she was 4-5 that day when she came back to face winners for the first time. And like I said, Eros' Girl is in here, and she did take a step up. But look at Eros' Girl prior to that. Granted, they were 2 races at Finger Lakes run over sloppy racetracks, but they were very, very slow races. And again, Platinum Gem kind of took a step backwards from that maiden breaking score, and I just don't necessarily know. And what's interesting, you know, they can run on Lasix in these 3-year-old races, stake races in Florida. Now the 2, 6, and 7 opt to not run on it. So sometimes you do look at that, and at least Divine Charger has proven that she can run a fast race without it.
There is Pletcher's filly moving in, Goddess of Fire. It's Outfoxed the 5. The favorite, let's go to Jason Beam. Here's the Gasparilla from Tampa Bay Downs.
Yeah, they're in the gate. And the race is on in the Gasparilla Stakes. A little bit of a hop at the start for She Nasty. Good start for Divine Charger down toward the inside. Platinum Gem is showing speed. Strategic Bird and Eros' Girl, those 4 pretty much right across the course. Is Outfox going to set up shop just in behind them in 5th. Hot Penny is 6th down toward the inside, about 4.5 off the lead. 2 more then back to Goddess of Fire, and the slow start has She Nasty at the back of affairs. So they have 5 furlongs left to go in the Gasparilla. Platinum Gem is the leader. Divine Charger, the other gray down toward the inside. Strategic Bird going to stay out in the clear from the 3rd position. It's 2 more then back to Eros' Girl. On the outside, Outfox right now is about a joint 4th, about 3.5 lengths behind. Then comes Hot Penny. It's another 4 then back to Goddess of Fire, and a space of 5 more back to She Nasty. 22 seconds for a contested opening quarter here as Platinum Gem, Divine Charger down toward the inside, and Strategic Bird 3 deep. Outfox, given the cue on the outside, is drawn to within 2 lengths of the trio up front. A Strategic Bird comes calling after the lead on the outside. Strategic Bird, Antonio Guerra to go to the front. Here's Outfox, though, going to follow that move on the outside, and the 2 favorites hook up at the top of the stretch. Strategic Bird and Outfox. Goddess of Fire has made up significant ground down the center of the course. Final furlong left to go. Strategic Bird and Outfoxed on the outside. These 2 for the final 16. Strategic Bird, Outfoxed on the outside. Outfoxed right up alongside Strategic Bird. Goddess of Fire right down the outside. Here's Outfoxed who goes to the front. Outfoxed going to go on to win it here. Outfoxed by a length. Goddess of Fire flew to get up for 2nd. Strategic Bird 3rd. Hot Penny was 4th, and Divine Charger finished 5th.
Outfoxed makes it 3 in a row. She was impressive, but that was a big late run as well from Pletcher's filly, Goddess of Fire.
Yeah, Goddess of Fire feels like one where it's maybe a Goldilocks effect, Craig. She just grinds out the victory. Now, Outfox got a prime setup here. We saw 3 horses go to the lead. You know, we saw Antonio Gallardo with Strategic Birds that took a little bit of a bump from the horse to his inside, which I think, you know, led to her maybe not being quite as fleet-footed early on as we've seen in her last 2. But we saw Platinum Gem go. We even saw Divine Charger. I don't think that was maybe the best option to attack the lead like that. I think maybe they'll regroup and find another plan for her in her next start. But Outfox just sat behind that 4-way pace duel and was able to pounce. But like you said, Goddess of Fire rallying well, and a good return to the races for her 3-year-old bow.
We go to Hot Springs for the first time this afternoon. For live action anyway. We checked in with Gary already, of course. 6 furlongs in this allowance optional claiming race. And look at the board. American Experiment, this 3 for the winningest trainer in North American history, Steve Asmussen. We'll have Joel Rosario back, his 2nd day returning after he was out with a hairline rib fracture. He returned yesterday. Here's 40 stripes for Jerry Hollendorfer.
He very one pace in his last start in the Advent, back in against Allowance Company here. It's going to have to find that form to get back to that Smoke Glack and win.
Stablemate of the favorite for Asmussen as well, Pressure.
Kind of was good in winning in that he kind of got a little loss on the front end and still was able to get the job done.
Grade 1 placed after winning the debut at Saratoga. Here's American Experiment.
Which he was entered as an MTO that day. Not a bad effort, though, in the Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity against a live field.
Magnolia Midnight, 4-1 for Dallas Stewart.
I thought this horse was very interesting. Greg got away very poorly. The horse that won that race came back to run a 91 in finishing 2nd next time out.
Swift tapped Jerry Hollendorfer and a son of Tapiture, excuse me.
We'll have to get a little bit quicker than this, and was just second best behind Don't Cross the Devil last time.
And Mike Maker sends out the speedster to the outside here, back to normal with Ricardo Santana Jr.
Yeah, Ricardo's great with these speed types, and that's going to be the plan here. Huge win to break his maiden over this strip last time out.
So we know he wants to go, it looks like, actually, both of the Asmussen runners, Pressure the 2, American Experiment the 3, they both have at least ability to be right near the lead. So it's going to be interesting to see who puts pressure on that outside horse.
Exactly. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, Pressure at least has been able to, you know, he showed that tactability last time out. American Experiment, we'll see. I mean, he wasn't able to win without the lead last time, in which he was wired by Pinehurst in that Del Mar Futurity. I don't know how good this horse is. Why was he in as an MTO in an off-the-turf race first time out?
Familiar silks here. Joel Rosario's warned them before. Let's go to Gary Stevens for more on the favorite.
Yeah, guys, all I can tell you is looking at these colts down in the paddock, the American Experiment looks different than the rest of them, if you know what I mean. He's a pure athlete. He walked out onto the racetrack very quietly, but he got a bounce in his step as Joel was getting him through the early post parade just before you guys showed him. I liked what I saw out there on the racetrack. I can make a couple of excuses for, if you want to call his Del Mar Futurity a mediocre type of performance, maybe it was. He broke his maiden on a sloppy racetrack up in Saratoga, then ships all the way to California on a completely different surface than what he raced on up in Saratoga. So a couple of built-in excuses there. I love his work pattern at Fairgrounds. He shipped in from this race. Steve's got a lot of options of what he's going to do with horses because of that big stable at Fairgrounds and big stable here at Oaklawn Park. He's got a lot of versatility of what he can do. But looking and talking about Pressure, I love that he won on this racetrack last time out. This racetrack tends to, if horses handle it, they continue to run well over this surface. Seen a lot of horses come in here that did not perform well on this surface. So that old saying, horses for courses, if you're going to play against the Asmussen, I wouldn't mind going with the 2 horse a little bit either, guys.
The much better price, of course, at 8-1. Those silks, of course, I alluded to it earlier, worn by, and same connections as Jackie's Warrior.
My favorite horse. That isn't in my husband's
A lot
barn.
of people's favorites.
Yeah, and a finalist for the Eclipse Award as a 3-year-old. So that will be interesting if he's able to take down the almighty lightly raced Flightline for that honor. And then Aloha West, obviously the Breeders' Cup winner.
Sprinter, yeah.
Sprinter,
Yeah.
yes, of course. No, you just don't often see 3-year-old sprinters taking down an Eclipse Award for Sprinter of the Year, is my point. But number 5 in here, I do like Magnolia Midnight. If the pace does develop, as you mentioned, hopped up to the start and then cut off by the inside horse, put him 6 lengths behind the field, and then angled wide in the stretch and really kicked on late. So if he gets the pace to close into today, he's back on a fast racetrack for the first time since September, albeit that was going long, so I'm not going to hold that against him. He did break his maiden on a fast racetrack. I think he's the interesting play in here for Dallas Stewart.
Loading up, 1-2 favorite. Let's get JK's thoughts as they load.
Yeah, very similar to what we just saw at Tampa. I think the 3 American Experiment, probably the likely winner at 1-2. But give me the 7 back to normal, drawn outside. Another place I like to be at Oaklawn Park.
All right, JK, thanks. And he very likely is going to be the one in front. That's where JK will go. Maggie going with the 5 as we see the favorite load up. American Experiment with Joel Rosario back. He's expected to win his first Eclipse Award in just a few weeks' time. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call. Here's the 4th from Oaklawn Park.
They're at the post. They're off. 40 Stripes broke outward, but now drops back. So American Experiment lands on the front. From back to normal, Magnolia Midnight between horses. Then comes Pressure and Swift Tap, and 40 Stripes is the trailer. American Experiment is the leader up the backstretch. From back to normal, who's a neck back in second. The rail is wide open for Pressure to go through and challenge. These 3 now cross the track. Magnolia Midnight is 5th and less than 2 from the front. And then at the back of the pack are the stablemates of Swift Tap and 40 Stripes. They leave the back backstretch, American Experiment. Unmeasured, neck in front of Back to Normal in second. Swift Tap is moving up 3 deep in a third. Meanwhile, Pressure is still right there at the rail in fourth. Magnolia Midnight is fifth. He's only 2 from the front, still could do it. 3 back to 40 Stripes, many chances Back to Normal. American Experiment, Pressure at the rail. Now Magnolia Midnight swings to the center of the racetrack. He's got a chance. Swift Tap is next. Back to Normal has taken the lead. It is Back to Normal. American Experiment battles on. Magnolia Midnight in the center with big strides. Here's Magnolia Midnight charging up outside of American Experiment. Magnolia Midnight in front. Magnolia Midnight beat American Experiment. Pressure was third. Back to Normal fourth.
Magnolia Midnight, Dallas Stewart, David Cabrera with a win here in the fourth from Oaklawn.
Well, it was all over when this horse broke today. He didn't hop up in the air. He sat third, and you could tell David going into the turn. I was like, oh, God, David, oh, because he had his feet in the dashboard, and you could tell he was loaded for bear behind that three-way kind of pace duel with the 2, 3, and 7, and he split horses and was able to run down. American Experiment late, who I thought in defeat, Greg, actually ran pretty well, was game, put away the rest of the pace horses, but just couldn't hold off that late charge and recency of Magnolia Midnight.
Yeah, he ran big, no question. I mean, he was quick early. He was on the engine with some very quick runners in this race. Well, I think most expected the 7 horse to be in front, and he outquicked him and still able to hang around for second.
Yeah, a good return. It's just maybe that layoff got him a little bit. Maybe that pace being a little hot up front did so too. But Dallas Stewart, you can never count out a Dallas Stewart horse, that's for sure.
One of the great characters in the game.
Love me some
fun
Dallas.
to see Dallas Stewart, especially when you're down at the spot, Saratoga. Magnolia Midnight takes the 4th at Oaklawn. We'll be back with prices next.
Independence Hall is hands down one of the most impressive horses I've ever seen physically.
Independence Hall is pouring it on here in the Nashua Stakes, won by maybe a dozen lengths.
Independence Hall wins the Hagyard Fayette.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Daredevil, returning to stud on U.S. soil. The only first-crop sire to see 2 offspring win the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks and the Grade 1 Preakness Stakes in the same year. She dares the devil, taking the Kentucky Oaks and the Grade 2 Azeri Stakes, and champion Swiss Skydiver, winning the Preakness and the Grade 1 Beholder Mile Stakes. With more exciting prospects on the track and multiple 6-figure sales in the ring, Daredevil's career is just getting started, only at Lane's End.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS1. Thank you for spending part of your Saturday afternoon with us. Our program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Gasparilla back at Tampa Bay Downs and outfoxed for Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott makes it 3 stakes wins in a row.
It's his second win as well. Bill Mott won the 2003 edition of the Gasparilla at Ebony Breeze. I know, going back a little ways, Greg. Nearly 20 years later, Outfox shows up off the layoff dating back to September. Florida Bred takes advantage of the added bonus that the Florida Breds receive in these open company races at Tampa today. And she was able to grind out the victory. And number 4 in here, Goddess of Fire, getting up for second over the the horse Strategic Bird, who was a part of that early pace.
Can she take another move forward next time out? Goddess of Fire.
10-1. Yeah.
Amazing she went off at that number. But Todd Pletcher has her going the right way, at least in her 3-year-old debut. So outfoxed, though, the story, the win for Belmont. And we got a maiden race coming up next, and then still to come later today, that Wayward Lass. Back at Oaklawn, Magnolia Midnight for Dallas Stewart, picking up the second win of his career.
And he, for West Point Thoroughbreds, we just saw their commercial heading back into this segment here. So nice segue. Good job, producers. But this one coming out of what seemed to be a live race within Dreams, winning that day, hopped at the start last time, got away quickly today, and that was all she wrote. A well-timed and strategically well-ridden victory for David Cabrera.
West Point Thoroughbred Silks in the winner's circle with a son of Midnight Storm. Wins, as we mentioned, for the second time in 6 career starts and returns $12 for the victory. 5-3-2 in the 4th from Oaklawn. Back to Tampa. We have a maiden race coming up next. So everyone looking for this first win on the resume. 6 furlong sprint here in the 7th. And it starts the late pick 4 on the card. And a lot of ways to go in here right now. Laugh and Play. First time out for Kristoff Clement. There's a lot of turf pedigree, it seems like, with this horse.
And whenever that happens with Kristoff Clement, the counterintuitive angle wins. He has ridden, think of that horse Space Launch for him, that has all dirt pedigree, is a son of Bernardini. And Kristoff is absolutely convinced he cannot run on the dirt and is a multiple winner on the turf. So this is kind of the opposite. Laugh and Play, as you mentioned, the dam half to marsh side. The second dam, a grade 2 winner on the turf as well. So there's plenty of turf pedigree into Mischief. Very versatile sire. We'll see. We do see sharing favoritism with one that has experience for Safi Joseph in A Logical Love.
11 minutes to post. We'll have the post parade for you when we come back. Kristoff Clement's firster he'll send out, Laugh and Play. We'll have more on Clement and his barn when we return on America's Day at the Races. Stay with us.
Introducing a stallion as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus buyer speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Well, you don't really wake up in the morning thinking I'm going to win 2,000 races. You just wake up in the morning thinking, you know, let's do the best we can and do our job the best we can. But I never actually thought about the number itself. It's all about being grateful to, number one, the horses, and obviously my owners, because I've been very well supported over the years, and my help. I've got very, very good people around me from every level, and it's all a teamwork. Family, help, owners, everybody involved, I could also say that there's a huge difference with training today compared to what it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago. I don't think that one individual could be as successful today because of the amount of work between training the horses and being a horseman, between finding the right racers, finding the jockeys, finding the talents at the sale or buying the horses in training, taking care of your payroll and your people. One individual cannot do all that at that level. So if you have to have a team, so you've got to find the right people in order to form that team in order to be successful. That you always have to adapt, and you always have to have an open mind. And
one of the truly great trainers in this game, and for so long, probably mistakenly so, he was thought of exclusively as a turf trainer because he had so much success on the turf. But Belmont Stakes win with Tonalist. He can do it all, and we saw him have that breakout Saratoga a couple of years ago. Just one of the truly best, and a great person as well.
Oh, yeah. I get along with Kristoff really, really well. Consider him a friend, as he is with many of us. And he's such a thoughtful person. He really takes time to, well, A, think about his horses and think about what might suit them best. Obviously, that has led to their success, but also just thoughtful in his dealings with his relationships with people. And that's why he's kept such good clients over the years as well. So looking forward to seeing what this first-time starter Laugh and Play does first time out for longtime client, as you mentioned, Robert Evans, who he did win the Belmont Stakes for with Tonalist.
That was back in 2014, and so as you mentioned, that's the 5 Laugh and Play. I guess with a trainer as good as Kristoff, trust him that even though there's turf pedigree there, he's debuting this horse on the dirt.
That's what I mean. He and his son Miguel pay very, very close attention, and they have, such things at their disposal as working horses at Payson Park on the turf, or excuse me, up in Saratoga, I should say. So they really take advantage of what tools they have to decide where these horses belong. And obviously Laugh and Play has showed them a ton of ability on the main track to warrant a start here. Now, maybe you could look at it in the flip side, in that maybe they want to run her on the main track first time out because, well, she might just need a start. She might need fitness.
Tough read. We'll get a look at her in a moment. You can, of course, play this race by getting signed up with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com. You can download that Naira Bets app as well. Bonus 200. That code to use at sign up and get that $200 deposit match. Here's Princess Ellen to kick off the post parade.
Princess Ellen's a first-time starter that is by Cairo Prince. The dam won her first start, albeit going long. Has not produced a winner though in 2 foals to run. Is a long shot for a reason, I'd say, as they're still getting the halter off her there on the track.
Of the Ball just went by. She's at 15 to 1 a first timer. The dam's first foal she produced was a first out winner. Here's Atomic Rose, the 4.
No, I think we're still waiting to see Belle of the Ball. But as you were saying, as we patiently await the arrival of Belle of the Ball to the racetrack, hopefully, daughter of Flatter, only gets 10% first time out, 3-year-olds and up. This one, a half to Join the Dots, who won her first start this fall at Belmont, going 7 furlongs. The dam half to Shamoose, though, who's a Grade 3 winner on the turf in England.
Here's Atomic Rose, first time out for Ben Colebrook.
It's daughter of Platonico, who is not sired, a first-time out winner, and 3-year-olds and up. The dam better going long. This one wants to go longer, I'd say.
Clement's debut, her daughter of Into Mischief.
Little green, Greg, which is not typical of Clement first-time starters. We see Sammy Camacho have his feet out of the irons, indicating that she was acting up possibly in the paddock.
6 to 1 on a filly with experience, who was 28 to 1 first out.
And does have some speed. She broke well, if chased the eventual winner, and just tired late.
Summer of Mischief, this is the favorite, and she showed ability in that debut, beat by a next out winner.
Yeah, and Platinum Gem, who we also saw come back in the staked and run that well. That was against Tougher. She kind of dug down to the rail in the latter stages. She just seemed to get a little lost down there.
Brookwood Hills. Blinkers on and Lasix for start number 2.
Dam half to the mighty Frosted. Was so green in her debut. I think she's going to run much better.
First time started by Quality Road here for Arnaud Delacour.
Yeah, and the Dam never broke her maiden, though. A half to Ultimate, who is 3 for 11 in dirt sprints. And the Dam also half to Inspired, who's a multiple stakes winner sprinting on the turf.
This is the most experienced filly in the group, and she has speed.
Yeah, but her races are slow, Greg. She was beaten last time out by the 4-5 favorite in Amani's Image, who was able to run her down late. We'll see. Like I said, I think she'll have to run faster.
And Unbridled Ensign, seems like there's a lot of turf pedigree here.
You said it. Again, maybe Kent Sweezy, the trainer here, is just trying to get a race into her. But and Kent having a string at Tampa as well at Gulfstream Park.
3 minutes to post in this 7th here at Tampa. Again, starts this late pick 4 as you take a look at the 5 here. This Clement debuter, Laugh and Play, Sam Camacho. And you look at the works. It's tough to know what a trainer wanted out of the works, who else was working that morning, but it's shown some quick ones, including a bullet gate drill.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not that familiar with Payson Park and how the nuances of that track and how they groom it and how they prepare it. But she is getting a solo warm-up now with Sammy Camacho. I will say she does look like a sprinter, at least. Whether this is the right surface, we're about to find out.
So what do we do with this Kristoff Clement filly? Let's go to JK, get his opinion.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things when it comes to this horse. First of all, you're going to see Kristoff and Chad Brown run horses at Tampa Bay. Typically, they're going to run on the turf. They prefer the turf course at Tampa. Now, when they send one up for the dirt, I like to try to dig a little bit deeper to find out why. You like to think the competition is perceived as being a little bit easier at Tampa, so sometimes you have to kind of judge that. Are they dodging better horses, or they just feel like this is where this horse fits? One thing I will say about Laugh and Play, looking through the races at Gulfstream Park this week, Friday through Sunday, there was no maiden races for fillies sprinting on the dirt. So it's possible they just felt like this was the only place that she was ready to run. They had to bring her up here to run. They are betting her like she can run a little bit, but they're going to always bet Kristoff and some of the other bigger name trainers from New York that are down at Gulfstream that are going to ship up to Tampa. Can she win? Sure. I would probably go with the look and see approach. I thought the 7 Summer of Mischief was the one you wanted. This horse has experience. It's something that slaps me in the face every summer at Saratoga, is these horses that have experience have an edge. I don't care if it's the fastest horse in the world that Todd or Chad have ever trained, and they show up and they get beat by a horse by a lesser trainer who's had experience. The experience goes a long way, and Summer of Mischief had a ton of it. Got stuck down on the inside, not the place you typically want to be at Tampa, broke slowly, had some trouble, was wide. The 7, Summer of Mischief, I think we'll get a much better trip here today, and I'll go with the one with some experience.
Yeah, I think she got a lot out of that race. You go back to look at the beginning of that race, too. She got slammed a little bit out of the gate in there, and I actually liked the move Jose Ferrer made. He saw an opening, and he dipped down to the rail and tried to take advantage of it. Didn't work out. But turns out, might be a nice filly that wound up getting by her and beating her that day.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was the wrong move for him to go down to the rail. I'm just saying she reacted a little bit lost by doing that. She's like, oh, down to the rail, and she kind of started to lug in. It looked as though she actually bounced off the rail for a second. So just kind of maybe interrupting that run a little bit. She's much the horse to beat. I wouldn't blame anybody for taking Summer of Mischief because there's just so many unknowns, and the ones that have run have just not run as fast. Now, there's little Miss Camille, who did show some early foot and was wired that day by Poema over at Gulfstream Park. And again, a horse that just looked as though she needed that first race from the fitness perspective. So we'll see. Is there going to be some mixing up on the front end, Greg?
You would think so. I mean, she's one of several that looked like they have ability. She costs, by the way, $2,500, this 6 filly.
Bargain.
Yeah, not a lot. You can get into this game for cheap. And case in point right there. We'll see if she can improve in her second start. Meanwhile, the 8, Brookwood Hills, you mentioned this one earlier. Owen Hardy, a lot of changes for her today.
Now, I know it's not a misprint. This is actually my pick. And I'm picking her just more so to highlight her as maybe a horse to potentially use underneath. Because like I said, I thought Summer of Mischief was the horse to beat. And while JK's right about Laugh and Play, you know, they seek maybe a little softer company, it still doesn't quite answer the question of why is this horse on the dirt despite having so much turf pedigree. But like I said with Kristoff, a lot of times that is a positive. Brookwood Hills, like I said, has a lovely pedigree. Daughter of More Than Ready. Maybe she wants turf, but anyway, that's neither here nor now. The dam half defrosted. She veered out of the start, was really green from the kickback, climbing early on, way back behind the rest of the field, in which that field was wired that day. Yes, you have to question the overall quality, being a maiden field at Hawthorne Park, but as you said, she gets Lasix, she gets blinkers on. She looked incredibly fit out there on the racetrack. I just thought, based with the pedigree, this was a filly that should run well in her next start. Now, maybe ultimately she wants to go longer than this, but just a troubled start first time, and one that, if she does get the pace set up, that I think may happen here, she's the one to be running late.
Yeah, we hear it a lot, and we hear it a lot in the summer from Tom Amos, who reminds us all the time that biggest improvement a lot of times you're going to see in that first or that second start. She really got a kind of education into racing in that debut.
Yeah, absolutely. She was swung wide that day. I don't love the fact that she was out finished for second as the winner went on and drew off by a horse that was actually on her outside. But still, she had a lot to overcome early on in that race. And now regrouping, coming off of that, 3-month layoff. 4-month layoff? I'm bad at math. 3-month layoff, and getting blinkers on today for Owen Hardy and Godolphin.
And meanwhile, you know, the Tanological Love, who I believe early on was favored, showed speed each of her first two starts. She's going to be forward again, but she has been very slow those races, those first two starts.
Right, 2:38, one in a maiden special weight over at Tampa, one in a maiden 50 at Gulfstream. Like I said, I could not necessarily endorse her, and just by looking at the pace scenario in here, it looks as though she's going to have company.
Summer of Mischief, the 7 in here who JK likes. There's a lot to like with this second-time starter. Might have plenty of pace to run into as well. Jose Ferrer back aboard. He was on board for that debut. Jason Beam with the call. Here's the 7th to kick off the late pick 4 from Oldsmar, Florida.
Here's Laugh and Play gone forward, just waiting on Little Miss Camille, and Unbridled Ensign will be all set for a start here in today's 7th race. The Lamb Home South, race of the week, and the late pick 4. Antonio Gallardo and Unbridled Ensign to the outside draw. Goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. A bit of a slow start there for Atomic Rose. Little Miss Camille burst out of there, went right to the front. Illogical Love from the outside showing good early speed. Those two fastest through the opening 16th of a mile as they quickly put a length and a half on Summer of Mischief. Brookwood Hills, those two race together 3rd and 4th. It's a space of 4 more lengths then. Back to Laugh and Play. Belle of the Ball moves up outside of her. Then comes Princess Elin. Unbridled Ensign with 2 beat early on. Those are quality. And the slow starting Atomic Rose has got to be 20 lengths behind with 3.5 furlongs remaining. Up on the front end, it's Little Miss Camille the leader. 22 seconds for that opening quarter mile. Little Miss Camille, a 3-prong challenge just in behind. Coming through inside of that runner's Brookwood Hills. 3 deep here for Illogical Love. Summer of Mischief dropped back a few lengths there. Is coming up on the outside. Belle of the Ball starting to rally up from 5th. Princess Elin's putting in a nice bid, is up to 6th and about 7 or 8 adrift as they come to the top of the stretch. Little Miss Camille is the leader at the top of the lane in front of length and a half. Illogical Love. Princess Elin really catches the eye down the outside and is starting to roll. Final furlong time now. Little Miss Camille. Here's Princess Elin. Belle of the Ball starting to run on as well. 16th pole. Princess Elin comes calling after the lead. Late run down the outside from Quality. It's Princess Elin and Quality in front. Princess Elin is 41-1 and a winner. Quality was 2nd. Belle of the Ball 3rd. 4th went to Little Miss Camille and 4th Illogical Love.
Princess Elin, this filly wins under wraps late at a monster price here in the 7th at Tampa.
Jason Beam called it. He said, turning for home, Princess Elin really catches the eye. As Greg, the dam did win first time out, albeit going long, has not had a winner in her 2 foals to run yet. But Alnaz Ali, who has not started that many horses at Tampa this year, has already had a winner and now adds another one to that list as Princess Elin takes advantage of the pace kind of coming apart. And the 2, Belle of the Ball, also running well in first time out.
41-1 winner in that 7th at Tampa. Real tough one to come up with as we're back at Oaklawn. Race 5, just 3 minutes to post here. This kicks off the late pick 5. It's a 50 maiden claiming race, 6 furlong sprint, and here's the 1 hot tub hottie.
This name kind of makes me laugh. Daughter of Mr. Z. This is some of his first 3-year-olds to run. The dam was a decent turf horse. Sibs have been good going longer on the dirt and the turf.
Ain't She a Pistol? It's going to actually step up in class, but it has been in against tougher before.
First off the claim for Kim Poole. First off the claim with maidens, 0 for 18 over the past 5 years.
Fashionably quick. Start number 2 was 76-1 first out.
Yeah, showed actually some decent speed, was kind of quick up there from that inside post position. The winner came back with a 71. The rest of the field, though, a little desperate.
Norm Cassidy with the first-time starter here, the 4.
This horse was entered in the Keeneland sale just a few days ago. So did she go to Kentucky and ship all the way back to Oaklawn?
13-1, Vita Bona.
This horse taking some money. Daughter of Liam's Matt. The dam was a turf horse. The dam a half to a decent graded stakes place horse going long on the dirt.
Fun Time Girl, 23-1 debuting, Daughter of American Freedom.
Yeah, the board says watch and see.
Prince Dream says.
Prince Dream says coming off of a layoff. She may have hit the lead too early last time, though, was the beaten favorite.
At Remington, Fighting Temptation ran second, start number 2.
Yeah, you know, she gets a little more ground to cover. The winner just got the jump on her last time out.
Argumental moves to the Mike Maker barn. That's usually a good thing.
Yeah, interesting horse that comes off a little bit of a layoff, takes that drop in class.
Race Day Attire just ran 3rd at this level.
I love this name. Race Day out of Battle Tux. Just perfect.
It is well named here. We'll see if it's contender too at 8-1. 5-2 favorite outside for Larry Jones, Daughter of Blame.
Interesting stat with Larry Jones. Second-time starter starting maidens, he's 15 for 88. But when it's maiden claiming, he's only 1 for 15. I thought she ran okay, though. First time out, may show a little bit more speed. Had to be checked while going into the turn and lost a lot of ground.
Yeah, another debut where she had to overcome adversity, and now second time out, the 5-2 favorite from that outside post all the way out in with the scratch here, actually post 11. Let's go to Gary Stevens for more.
Yeah, guys, blame Nellie in the 12th hole. You guys hit on it already. The trip she had last time, it started at a critical point in the race, and really, with the first-time starter, any time in a race is critical, but it was at the worst time going into the far turn, about the 7/16 pole, shuffled back in traffic, no fault of Martin Garcia's, shuffled back again, lost ground coming into the stretch, and just a nightmare trip, and with this outside draw is a logical choice here. But you guys talked on the 5-horse, Vita Bona. One of my riders, Giovanni Franco, actually worked with her in company 2 straight times, and this filly has shown ability in the morning. As far as who she was working with, she looked great, and she is being bet 30-1 on the morning line, 14-1 right now. So if she doesn't run well, blame Gary, not Nellie, guys.
16-1 on a first-timer, so some inside intel there.
And this trainer, he great guy. And his horses, when the couple times I went out to Oaklawn last year, his horses always caught my eye, Greg. I mean, just a really good conditioner, brings his horses over looking really healthy and ready. So she is interesting.
Jonathan, post time coming up. This starts the pick 5. How are you going to play it?
If I don't make it, I'm going to blame Gary and see if I can get some of that Seabiscuit money for him to pay me back. Look, I thought the 7 made a lot of sense in here. This horse is taking some money. This horse got bet at Hawthorne for Ingrid Mason. And I just feel like when the money comes in on a Mason horse at Oaklawn Park, the horses typically run well. And I'm not really overly concerned about the fact the horse is bet down from the morning line like we've talked about on this show before. Morning line, very overrated. No offense to our friend David Aragona, but it's just it's a prediction of what the final odds are going to go off at. It's one person's opinion, and it's not the most important thing. However, you do want to at least notice when there's a big jump because there could be a lot of money coming in on a horse. So I thought the 7 made a ton of sense in here. Gary already pointed out the trip and the trouble for the 12, blame Nellie. And I love horses. I'm a sucker for horses drawn outside at Oaklawn Park.
4-1. Prince Dreamsess. As you see that big number we just saw back at Tampa Bay, $85 winner on that first-time starter.
I couldn't have come up with her, Greg. I'll be perfectly honest. She ran big, though, to get the win. Took advantage a bit of the pace coming apart. As you see a lot at Tampa, you always kind of want the ones closing more often than not.
Well, there's the 10 just moving out of our screen. That's Argumental. Ricardo Santana Jr., Mike Maker. This filly moving to the Maker barn off a debut at Churchill back as a 2-year-old when she didn't show a whole lot.
Yeah, in a 5.5 maiden special weight. She was really, really green that day, and just the drop in class. This horse actually really well bred by Not This Time. The Dam, a multiple stakes winner, going long. She's interesting. I'm going to take a little bit of a shot with the 11 race day attire, who does come out of the same race as Blame Nelly. I thought ran well while splitting horses, was very brave, and just a better price this time around.
Last in will be the favorite, and Blame Nelly outside. Larry Jones. See if she can get a cleaner trip here in start number 2. Vig Stauffer to kick off the late pick 5 from Oaklawn.
2 more now. Fun Time Girl and Blame Nelly. They're at the post. They're off. Prince Dreamsess breaks well, so does Race Day Tire. Fun Time Girl is close up. Then comes Hot Tub Hottie, Ain't She a Pistol? Blame Nelly to the outside. Argumental just inside of her. Beta Bona is next, and on the front end, Hot Tub Hottie's gone all the way through to lead. Then comes towards the back of the pack, Fashionably Quick, and the trailer is Distorted Secrets. So Hot Tub Honey is the leader from Prince Dreamsess into the far turn. Hot Tub Honey a neck in front. Prince Dreamsess is second, 2.5 lengths to Race Day Attire. She's a length in front of Fun Time Girl. Blame Nelly is mid-pack with about 5 to make up. Ain't She a Pistol moves through at the rail. Then comes Vita Bona. 2.5 lengths further back, 2 at the rail, and Distorted Secrets. She's moving up a bit. Top of the stretch, and here comes Prince Dreamsess. Prince Dreamsess is outside of Hot Tub Honey. These two are matching strides, and 2 lengths in front of Fun Time Girl, who means business. And here comes Fun Time Girl after Prince Dreamsess. Prince Dreamsess a length in front. Fun Time Girl has the final 16th to get by and is inching closer. Prince Dreamsess, Fun Time Girl. Fun Time Girl maybe half ahead. Prince Dreamsess, Fun Time Girl. Fun Time Girl beat Prince Dreamsess. Distorted Secrets was 3rd, and Ain't She a Pistol finished 4th.
Another monster price here at Oaklawn to kick off this late pick 5 here. Filly debuting by American Freedom with the victory.
The board has not been our guide in these last 2 maiden races at Tampa and Oaklawn, Greg. This one 40-1, right? She was 40-1, I think. As she was able to run down Prince Dreamsess, as that horse was game. She did all the dirty work. A long, long break all the way back to, I believe, the 4 horse who was 3rd here. But congratulations, John Prather, American Freedom daughter. There's more turf in the pedigree. Like I said, I'm going to have to throw my hands up with this one, but a well-timed ride by Christian Torres to boot.
And yeah, indeed, it was 41. I was checking and my computer froze. That's why the all button has its place in this game if you're wagering, you're playing multi-race wagers.
So true.
And once in a while it comes in. 40-1 here. Debuter for John Prather, American Freedom filly, up for the victory. So Christian Torres, back-to-back monster prices with first-time starters. We'll have these prices for you when we come back. America's Day at the Races continues right after this on FS1.
Smile Happy was a TDN rising star following his maiden win at Keeneland. From there, he captured the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes to remain undefeated and earning points toward the Kentucky Derby. In Future Pool 1, Smile Happy was individual leader by lowest odds. Among the top of his crop by stakes winners and earnings, Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Call today and book your mare to Red Hot Sire Run Happy, standing in legendary Stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
Introducing Adelphi Racing Club, the horse racing syndicate offering more than just fractional ownership. Enjoy the thrill of an interactive thoroughbred ownership experience competing at the sport's highest level. Attend events where you'll interact with top trainers, industry professionals, and club members. We've cheered on winners from coast to coast at top tracks such as Santa Anita and Saratoga.
And it will be Exotic West.
Become part of a group that celebrates success together. Visit AdelphiRacing.com and join the club today.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS1. Good to have you with us, and it's one of the most prime real estate if you want to get a room somewhere in racing. They're in Hot Springs. Perfect view of the track. Fun Time Girl, 40-1 to kick off the late pick 5. We might have a carryover already.
Exactly. Congratulations if you had it. Did sport a bullet work out of the gate heading into this one, but it wasn't like she went to the lead early here, Greg, as we saw Prince Dreamcess tackling the early pace, put separation between her and those early pace setters, but Funtime Girl had her in her sights the entire way and was able to run her down. John Prather experiencing quite a nice Oaklawn meet early on here in the meet.
It's got to feel so good to win with a first-time starter. $82.40. The Exacta, that 6-7 combination, over $585. And that early pick 5, play it for 50 cents, so divide that by 4, but still a pretty nice return there. We get back to Tampa, and another monster number, this one even bigger than the one we just showed you. $85 here on Princess Elin debuting from the rail.
Congratulations if you had this daughter of Cairo Prince, and this one, you know, kicking off or part of many multi-race wagers. So as you said, the all button is your friend, and this one I could not have come up with necessarily, to be honest, as the dam has yet to produce a winner, but $85.40 for the win with Princess Elin.
Wow.
Look at that trifecta. What, I missed it. What did that pay?
Big numbers all across. I mean, pick 3 huge as well.
60. Wow.
50-cent trifecta over $1,600.
Congratulations.
It's got to get one of these, and it's a winning afternoon for you.
They're all first-time starters too, so it wasn't an easy combination to come up with. That's for sure.
Oh, we saw the Gasparilla earlier on in the card. Before that, it was the boys taking their turn. Sophomore Colts and Geldings in the Pasco, and Marcamian stepping up for Wanavila.
I thought this was a great effort, Greg. As we've seen many times, horses not withstanding the front-end pressure, and he did. He was even passed by your favored Provocateur in here and came back to re-rally, going the 7/8, stretching out just a half furlong for Wanavila, getting Lasix, and again, a Florida bred who gets to take advantage of that added purse money. He was 5-1 over Provocateur, I'm sorry, and Catton was also your favorite.
And actually got a little separation there late,
yeah, that was
too.
it was impressive.
First time outside of State Bred Company for him. Wins an open company in a stakes race to boot. Some nice winners have come out of the Pasco in recent years. Musket Man, he'd go on to run third in the Derby and the Preakness. Of course, Win set a track record.
Yep.
He'd win the Forgo at Saratoga.
Oh, that was one of the most fun races. Complete downpour.
Yep.
Remember? Rainbow afterwards. That was a spectacular effort.
From the clouds to get up and win that race. He was struggling over it early over the racetrack. So maybe some big things ahead for Marcamian. We have the 8th for you next when we come back from Tampa. Mile and a 16th on the lawn. Hidden Stash. Turf debut coming up. Last start was last year's Kentucky Derby. We'll be back.
Good man
Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Solomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it.
The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS1. We're going to switch to the turf coming up in the 8th at Tampa.
Greg, I think that guy needs a serious spot on our show. I think we need to start paying him. He's on more than you and I.
He's the star of the show, no question.
Real.
This next race coming up, it's a mile and a 16th on the lawn. Allowance optional claiming group. And, you know, we talked about this horse going to break, Hidden Stash. Last time we saw him was in the Kentucky Derby. He wound up 14th in that 19th horse field. His best moment probably was a very, very big runner-up effort in that Tampa Bay Derby.
Maybe there's the long-range plan here. Let's get him back to the races after that long layoff on what is typically a much easier surface. And plus, the turf course there is pristine. So Hidden Stash does not have much turf pedigree, Greg. Constitution, he's a prolific sire. But he is better with his dirt horses, and there's just not much, despite being a smart strike mare, production on the bottom for it.
Chad Brown, Peter Branson at Kuramana had won 3 in a row. First defeat came in a race that sent him to the sideline since May.
He does have trouble getting out of the gate, Greg, but he is talented.
Sonny Smacky, 17-1.
Ran well last time, but he's going to have to come up with another effort like that. Maybe an outsider's chance.
Patriot Drive. He was just second behind Wolfie's Dynaghost in his return off a short layoff.
Yeah, and just ahead of the aforementioned Sonny Smack in here. Ran well, but kind of got the nice pace to close into it as well.
Sherl's Spite for Roger Atfield.
This horse is interesting. I mean, look at his turf and synthetic efforts. They're faster than his dirt efforts, and he's facing much better horses.
Mike Maker with Kygo had to deal with the blazingly fast Never Surprise for Pletcher,
who came back to win the Tropical Park Derby with a 97 buyer safe conduct, ran third in there that day. Kygo just couldn't close, though this is his first start against older company.
Big price, two-step and Kluge went by, and here's Driftwood, the 8.
Driftwood is the speed. Can he take him all the way? He sometimes is able to, though most of his best running has come on synthetic.
A Rose for Raven. He can be forward, too. He went gate to wire at Canterbury on the grass.
Isn't he interesting, given the trip that he had in that Wolfie's Dynaghost race? He was so wide going into that first turn and stayed on decently, considering he was the widest of all the whole way. The problem is he's on the outside again.
4 minutes to post in this 8th coming up. So let's go back to the horse that we last saw in the Kentucky Derby, Hidden Stash. He'll get Lasix today, and as you mentioned, maybe it just is a stepping stone to get a race into him, get some fitness, and we'll see him back on the dirt. I know you said not a lot of turf pedigree. The dam at least was out of a Danzig mare.
Right. there's that kind of overriding turf appearance, but as far as legitimate production, there isn't that much to warrant a short price on him here. I think he is a bet against, and considering that his best races came on the dirt at this very racetrack.
This was his best. He was chasing Helium here, who'd win this Tampa Bay Derby, but Hidden Stash fought him tooth and nail to the wire. That was a big effort and made a big move from off the pace. Off that, he'd be fourth in the Bluegrass behind Essential Quality, and then, of course, the Derby that didn't go his way, and he went to the bench.
I will say, and just to contradict the heck out of myself, watching him move, he kind of does move a little bit more like a turf horse. Does look fit out there as well. I don't know. I just wait and see kind of approach with him.
9-2 on Hidden Stash. Meanwhile, Chad Brown, Peter Brandt, Kurumada began his career with back-to-back wins here coming to the States.
Right. So in his first start in England, he dwelled at the start. His first start in the States, he dwelled at the start. The only race he got away well was his race at Aqueduct, which he was very sharp in the paddock that day. But you have to think with another layoff in mind that are we going to see him break alertly? But two, with a champion trainer like Chad Brown, they have schooled him consistently to get him to break. He got the right kind of trip, right kind of setup this day. But I was impressed with his victory, Greg. I thought he was going to go on to have a very productive 4-year-old year, and it just didn't pan out after obviously arising with an issue out of that dinner party.
We'll see. I mean, a barn that's as good as anyone in this game. He was an Eclipse Award finalist yet again. He won it 4 years in a row at bringing horses back off the bench. And we'll see if he can break better. When he did suffer that defeat, obviously there was an issue in that race, but that race was loaded too. Some like it Hot Brown, multiple graded stakes winners, won over 830,000 on the grass. So will he be ready to go off the bench? JK, what do you think?
Yeah, I would think so for a couple of reasons. One is that Chad has obviously won with this horse off a layoff previously, so you know what to expect. He knows if the horse is fit enough. He knows a training schedule to get him ready, and it's probably something very similar to what he did previously to get him ready off of a long layoff in terms of how far, how often, what kind of workmates, things of that nature. And it just feels like this horse is primed and ready to go. I love the inside draw. Kind of takes away some of the thinking for Sammy Camacho. Just sit in there on the best horse, stay covered up, save ground, get out and make one run. I think the two Kurumada should be tough in here based off of the past speed figures this horse has run. The 5 Cheryl Spite, a horse I can't ignore. This horse has run extremely fast in some of his races. Almost got me there with the Cheryl Spite, but I didn't fall for it, even though I typically do, not as much as Wolfie. I love you, Wolfie, but the same thing. I'm just joking. This is a horse that has some tactical speed as well, and this could be the biggest enemy to Kurumada if getting loose on the front end and finding some of that early tactical speed that Cheryl Spite once had.
7-2 on Cheryl Spite. I wanted to go back to the 4, Patriot Drive.
Okay,
and
why?
That last start from him, I mean, he did show a big burst late in that race. Getting back on grass.
Look, he's a tried and true veteran of the game. He's not the most winningest type. He's 8 for 51 life, but he's danced every dance. I mean, I remember when he was running around here, I think for Danny Gargan mostly. I mean, I'm going back quite a ways. But yeah, he ran well behind Woofie's Dynagos, who finally put it all together. But I am most interested in the 5 Cheryl Spite. You just can't ignore those Woodbine races on the turf, and that one in the Grade 3 Marine, in which he did win with the 91 Beyer. And then they kind of throw him to the wolves, so to speak, and only his 3rd start in the Woodbine Mile, a Grade 1, and I don't know. And that was as a 3-year-old. He missed a lot of his 4-year-old campaign. But what were they doing running him on the dirt? I get last time taken off the turf, blah, blah, blah. But at least he's pairing these races back to back now, getting back on what looks to be his preferred surface. Son of Spitestown, Cheryl Spite, very interesting. As well as number 6, Kygo in here, Greg. Kygo comes out of what looks to be a fairly live Geoponte. He took a little while to switch leads after not having much speed. That usually comes with the territory when you're coming from European countries and breaking out of the gate here. I didn't think he looked that fit for that effort in the paddock that day. I was a little under-impressed with him as an individual physically, but still, I think he deserves a chance in here, and he ran a speed figure that puts him right in the mix with most of these.
Yeah, they switched him back to turf back over in France before he came to the U.S., and he really responded.
Yep.
Tough spot to be in, as you mentioned, in that States debut. A Pletcher horse who's turning into, I wouldn't say a superstar, but a really good and really fast horse on the grass. He's 4 for 7 lifetime, 2-time stakes winner. So that's too big a price on him for sure.
Yeah, 6-1, and especially for Mike Maker. They went and got this horse. You know, it's interesting, you know, Dove and Nantucket stable, a lot of times these types of horses do go to Chad Brown, but they opted to take this one or give this one to Mike Maker. And it just felt like he really needed that start for his first start in the States. And like you said, wired that day by the very speedy Never Surprised. Nobody really made up that much ground. Never Surprised and Safe Conduct ran 1-2 around the racetrack. So this guy definitely deserves another shot, and another shot at 6-1. I'd say sign me up. I totally respect Kuramata in here, but a little 5-6. I think those are ones with a little bit of value.
Two, you look at the two just on straight resumes, the 2 and the 5. Way too big a disparity. I mean, Kuramata,
Right.
Chad Brown and Peter Brandt, they're going to get over bet because of how successful they are. But Kuramata's an A other than winner.
Exactly, and Cheryl Spite is a graded stakes winner. And like you alluded to, he just, I guess people are just seeing that he's dirtied up from those 2 dirt races. Or maybe they think he can't run out of the country of Canada. I don't know. But Roger Atfield knows what he's doing, and I'd rather take Roger Atfield at a decent price here, 4-1.
Yeah, not exactly a slouch himself. Hall of Famer. And Roger Atfield won many of the most important races several times over north of the border in Canada. And 4-1, that's a terrific price on Cheryl Spite. But even money, we see it a lot, especially here in New York. Chad Brown, Peter Brandt, they get over bet. And this horse is probably the one to beat, but just at that price is extremely short.
We'll see what your horse, 11-1 on Patriot Drive. Hey, like I said, you kind of know what you're going to get with him.
Yeah, and you mentioned his record, too, back to the 4. On turf, he's been first or second, 11 of 31 starts. So, maybe a horse who can get a piece of it.
Yep,
we'll
absolutely.
see. I don't know if he's up to the task of getting the win. There he is. He's going to wait to load in with Junior Alvarado. Excuse me, not
Roberto?
Junior.
It's okay, Greg. Well, there's a El Reyes, who I always want to call
Roberto Alvarado.
Roberto Alvarado. I always want to call Luis Reyes, but it's Lionel. So.
Thank you. Jason Beam with the call, even money favorite. Kuramata, the 2.
And the race is on. Caught him off to a pretty clean beginning. Hidden Stash, Sunny Smack, and in the center, Cheryl Spider right there. Driftwood from the outside in the red colors might be quickest of all, though, through that opening 16th of a mile. Driftwood's up to go to the front. Cheryl Spider in a little bit of a tight spot toward the inside. Two-step and Kluge moves up alongside of that one, is now up into third. Some trouble back there for Sunny Smack at the back, who quickly dropped out last. Kuramata also in a tough spot there early on. As they go to the first turn, let's go back to the front here. It is Driftwood the leader. Driftwood in front of length, two-step and Kluge. Cheryl Spite stays down toward the inside from third. A Rose for Raven moves around Hidden Stash. They're fourth and fifth. Kuramata still down toward the inside. Had to tap on the brakes once again there from sixth. Was passed on the outside by Patriot Drive, rather. It's 2 more than back to Kygo. And Sunny Smack after that traffic is at the back. The opening quarter timed in 23 and 4/5 seconds. And up on the front end, it's Driftwood and Jose Ferrer taking him down the back stretch in front of length and a half. In that second spot, two-step and Kluge. Cheryl Spite, a Rose for Raven under a good hold is fourth. Patriot Drives covering Hidden Stash down toward the inside as Kuramata's in behind them, seventh right now. 2 more back to Kygo and still nothing yet from Sunny Smack. 48 seconds the time for the opening half mile. Long shot Driftwood to the far turn. Cheryl Spite waiting in the wings now coming into that second spot. A Rose for Raven starts to launch from third. Backing up there, two-step and Kluge. Kuramata trying to weave through traffic as Hidden Stash stays down toward the inside. They come to the top of the stretch. It's still Driftwood, the long shot leader. Cheryl Spite pushed along to come after that one from second. Hidden Stash emerges up onto the scene as Kuramata takes to the extreme outside. Cheryl Spite coming after Driftwood. Hidden Stash, Kuramata both starting to run down the outside of the track. Cheryl Spite and Antonio Gallardo hit the front. Hidden Stash, Kuramata, Driftwood all battling for minor awards, though. Cheryl Spite back in the winner's circle, won it by 2. Hidden Stash was second. Driftwood looked to hold third over Kuramata in fourth.
Cheryl's Spite, Roger Atfield, Antonio Gallardo the win. 5-year-old son of Spite's down.
He was always I shouldn't say always in the right position, because early on he wanted to get a bit rank behind Driftwood, who was obviously your pace setter in here, but he had plenty left in the tank, just relishing getting back on the green stuff today. Hidden Stash, Greg, ran well for his first try on turf. Maybe this has been the MO all along, but Kuramada just didn't get away that well, just kind of was in a tangle for the entire kind of first eighth of a mile. We saw the rider aboard him, Sammy Camacho, almost standing straight up in the irons. He just didn't look comfortable, and so therefore lacked a late punch.
5-1-8-2. Yeah, Hidden Stash. Last saw him in the Derby. He winds up the runner-up in his turf debut. Prices from the 7th at Tampa when we come back.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Always been keen on the sons of Tappet. You know, we've done well with him. You know, he's broken out quite well. He's a beautiful mover, potentially a really nice two-turn horse going forward. We're really kind of very fond of him.
We bought the Tapper filly out of the Blue Eyes in the Rain filly at the Keeneland sale. What we really liked about her was obviously her physique. We liked the way she moved, and we just fell in love with her from the start, really.
Taprit, standing at Gainesway.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Back on America's Day at the Races, our program brought to you in part by the champion sprinter Ron Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting, and did it all while racing medication-free. Now standing at Claiborne Farm out of legendary stall #1. Sherrill Spite. Your upset winner at 4-1 here, Roger Atfield, Antonio Gallardo.
4-1's a gift, Greg. As we said before they went in the gate, he's a grade 3 winner, yes, albeit on synthetic, but he was just dirtied up by, dirt races. He'd run a 93 as a 3-year-old in the grade 1 Woodbine Mile, behind Starship Jubilee, March the Arch, and War of Will. So, what?
The power
of Chad Brown.
Yep. And a horse coming out of the Derby. People love horses who come out of the Kentucky Derby.
Who had no turf experience, but I think ran very well.
Yeah, he did.
In hindsight.
But in the end, that's a nice price on Sherrill Spite. $10.40 for the win. 3rd career victory, 2nd on turf. 5-1-8 finish. Back to Oaklawn. And race 6. Start of the late pick 4. It's a $30,000 claiming race, so all these horses up for sale. Non-winners at 2 lifetime the condition. And a 6 furlong sprint coming up. 5 Dreams right now favored for Steve Asmussen with Joel Rosario. We'll get to that 4-year-old in a moment.
This race just had a monster scratch without a sight coming out of here. Now it's, I think, much more wide open.
Here's Windcracker to kick things off.
I thought this horse was interesting. Based on buyer speed figures, yes, lower profile connections, but this horse fits at a decent price dropping in class.
Big Boss Ben is only when it came on grass.
This is true. He does get Lasix off of the layoff and in for a tag for only the 2nd time.
Ernie Banker, he's ran decent at Aqueduct in the mud.
He did, but the race completely fell apart in his favor. That was not the strongest race, but then again, neither is this.
wherever he is off the claim, 22-1.
Turning back in distance, take the pass.
Here's the favorite, Son of Cinco Charlie.
Well, he has this one figure that would trounce this field, but where is it in any of his other races? Yes, last time out was beaten by the favorite. The rest of the field, though, was a bit hungry.
Yeah, he's never come close to it before or since, and it was at a different racetrack. 7 Wise Kozan went by, and here's American Chaos.
American Chaos's best race came on synthetic. Not run well in his one start over a fast dirt track, though, against much better.
Road Bible, Ricardo Santana Jr. for Federico Villafranco.
Yeah, who's searching for his first win, who usually dominates at this meet, was beaten by an 86-1 shot last time.
13-1 special price is 1 for 18.
Yep, I think it'll be 1 for 19.
Appraisal. D. Wayne Lucas with a new gelding.
I thought this was a little interesting, Greg. You know I'm a sucker for a first-time gelding. Off of the long layoff, yes, but turning back in distance where he's had success and back to the dirt.
And 21-1 outside, one with speed. That's something.
Yeah, but this guy's been running against Oklahoma breds, and I think just an open company is going to find the waters a little deep.
Third off a lengthy layoff for that outside runner. Let's go to Jonathan for more here in the 6th.
Yeah, I thought the 3 Ernie Banker was interesting. You know, Carl Broberg does a great job at Oaklawn typically now. He's not having the greatest meet. Last I checked, 1 for 34. That's not to his standards, but he still can get a good horse, train a horse that's new to his barn, and you'll see an improvement. And we saw that last time with Ernie Banker switching to his barn from John Kimmel's barn. There was a jump in figure. Now, that was over a muddy racetrack, and so you want to sometimes question whether or not that was the reason for the improvement. But they are betting this horse here, and like Maggie mentioned, the scratch of the 5 makes this a very wide open affair. Now, we'll need to work out a trip from the inside. I've said it before, I prefer horses drawn towards the outside at Oaklawn, but if Ernie Banker, who comes from out of it, can kind of just break away from there cleanly, not have any trouble early in the race, let something materialize in front of him, and then circle to the outside, I think he could get up and get his picture taken here. So we'll see if Ernie Banker wants to represent for America's Day at the Races from the Northeast.
Yeah, coming in from New York, we'll see, representing NYRA here in the Midwest. 7-2 is mentioned. Again, you can play this race. Get signed up, started with NYRA Bets. Go to NYRABets.com. You can download the app. Promo code to use at sign up. Bonus 200 to bet any track, anywhere, anytime.
Greg, you know who I thought was interesting? Not the 6. Now with the scratch of Itis out of sight, who looked to be lone speed, class of field, pretty much layover in this field. Like I said, it opens things up. Number 8, American Chaos. I know his faster races have come on synthetic, but his dirt races have come against better, and he has speed. He could work out to be the speed, and as JK mentioned, he should be, tracking from the outside, which is typically, where you want to be.
It's a big drop in class for
right?
the 8. And, you look at the 6. We just talked about a favorite that was way over bet at Tampa.
Well, and then Magnolia Midnight, too, in that race. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. No, good point. But we have another situation here.
I picked the 1, but I'd go 8 maybe.
Really? You like the 8 that much?
8 and 1. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, I think this horse is interesting because he could be speed, and he's just faced better on the dirt. So I like the 1. I like the 1 going into this race. He's taking more money than I anticipated, but yeah, American Chaos. I think you have to take a look at it. 11-1.
Yeah, back to my point. I mean, it's another race where you have a favorite who's getting over bet and should not be the price he is. The 6-5 Dreams has that one race. He's never produced it before. He hasn't come close to it since. To be fair, he's dropping a little bit, but from Remington, other than allowance, here it's a little tougher circuit overall at Oaklawn anyway. But still, that price is too short.
They're just seeing Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario, and 181 buyer speed figure off of the layoff. He was, nearly 1-9 that day. So not facing much, and hasn't faced much since, and has been well beaten by those, rivals who would they be 2-1 in this field?
And you look at his resume, too. I never loved to see this. 7 seconds and 13 career starts. It makes you think, is there that will to get to the wire first?
No, there isn't. Yeah, there's many other better options in here than taking 2-1 on 5 Dreams, and you're just getting hurt by the Asmussen Rosario factor, which I know it's only 2 days in or a day and a half in, but has it really been that potent? They have one winner, I think, right?
Okay.
I probably just put him right in the winner's circle. He's going to win by 10.
There's a reason they take the money they do.
They do.
We'll see if we get burned here. But, yeah, no matter what happens, this horse is taking more money than probably he should. We'll see how it plays out. The 8, American Chaos from Maggie.
A little
8-1.
8-1. Yeah, I think the 8's interesting for the speed factor.
Yeah, Windcracker from the rail, Kim Poole. And, of course, J.K. mentioned Ernie Banker shipping in from New York, now with Carl Broberg. Let's go to Vic Stauffer. Here's the 6 from Oakland.
One more. That's something. They're at the post. They're off. American Chaos broke beautifully, goes for the front from Appraisal, and that's a something. Big Boss Ben is at the rail. Then comes Ernie Banker, wherever he is, 5 Dreams, and Road Bible, followed by Special Price and Windcracker, and a slow start has Wise Kozan at the back of the pack. American Chaos, the leader up the backstretch with 2 challengers, Big Boss Ben between horses, and that's something 3 deep. These 3 separated by about a length. Then it's a lineup of 5 horses. 5 wide is 5 Dreams. At the rail goes Windcracker. He's moving up. Appraisal is between horses. They're all trying to find a way through. Then comes Wise Kozan. Around the far turn they run. Many chances. American Chaos narrowly in front of Big Boss Ben. To the outside end, that's a something. Special Price runs up 5 wide. Just inside of Wise Kozan, and they run to the final furlong. Big Boss Ben puts his head in front. Here comes Ernie Banker in the center of the racetrack. Ernie Banker's got a chance, and from the back of the pack, Appraisal is splitting horses, and Special Price has a chance. So Special Price now takes the lead from Ernie Banker. Big Boss Ben to the inside. These 3, Special Price, Ernie Banker, Special Price, Ernie Banker. This is very close. I think maybe Special Price by an inch, but he's in a close photo with Ernie Banker. Big Boss Ben might have been 3rd.
Yeah, it's going to be another big price. I'm not sure Ernie Banker ever got a nose in front of Special Price.
It's a tough angle from our vantage point at Oaklawn. Vic, at the end of the call, hinted at Ernie Banker winning, but then he said, I think actually Special Price got up for the win. Again, Greg, I don't know. I mean, okay, fine. What did he go off at
16
here?
16
to 1. So he took a little
price.
bit of money. His recent form, much better than what we'd seen from him in the past. Yeah, he won. Good run from the 2 for 3rd, hanging in gamely. Big Boss Ben, Johnny Ortiz.
1 for 18 coming into this race.
Yeah,
but
see, I just can never endorse horses like this,
but
right?
2 of the better races he ever run, I got to say. I mean, it took him 17 starts to break his maiden. His first try against winners, he actually ran pretty good and moved forward doing it.
The proverbial light bulb.
It did come on, didn't it? Does it again. 2 wins now in his last 3 starts. We're going to take a timeout. Prices continue. You're gone. Andy
Peace
Serling joining me after a break with more from Tampa and Oakland as well.
A Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf, War of Will became a classic winner with this victory in the Preakness Stakes. And added a Grade 1 with turf credentials in the Maker's Mark Mile. A winner in Grade 1 placed at 2. Multiple graded stakes victor at 3 and Grade 1 winner again at 4. This son of Warfront has proven his class at every level. At Keeneland November, his first mares and foals sold up to $310,000. War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's a great setting for the horse. When Mr. Gaines built it, he built it with the horse in mind. And everything about it is just natural to the horse.
The history here runs deep. I just hope we can add a page to it.
The Gainesway roster at the moment is a very youthful roster. We have a lot of young horses. With that youth, you never know where the next great stallion is going to come from.
Stallion, like Tappet, comes along once in a lifetime. We all realize we would be extremely, extremely fortunate to ever be around another horse that good. But it's our goal. That's our goal, to try to get another Tappet.
He was an extremely highly accomplished 2-year-old.
Tappet tugs the horse all the way around the track, comes home for a cruise in the futurity.
I've loved Tappet. First crop I remember seeing start and bound at the first 2-year-old sale. She worked 3/8 and worked awesome. I was like, that's a really neat filly. Tappet as a stallion, he's unbelievable. You know, 8 champions. And he's like fine wine, he gets better with age.
The goals are straightforward. We're going to expand our stallion roster through syndication. Anthony wants to aggressively build this stallion roster.
And really buy stallion prospects at a younger age via yearling sales, 2-year-olds, or even breeding our own at home. Right now, we're really focusing on that because, you know, Gainesway's been an unbelievable consignor as long as Brian's been in charge. Now we're trying to bring Gainesway to the forefront in all aspects of the industry.
In my career at Gainesway, initially was building our sales program. In the Keeneland sales and Fasig-Tipton, you get pretty amped up trying to achieve your clients' goals. Last year we were the 2nd leading consignor of thoroughbreds in North America. That helps us all sleep better.
Thank you, gentlemen. $1,650,000.
Consigned by Gainesway.
We're ambitious to go get new stallions. We're ambitious to get very high quality stallions. And we're ambitious to carry on a great tradition here at Gainesway that Mr. Gaines started. The Beck family has continued on.
I'm excited about all of them. Caraconti's off to a wonderful start. I'm excited about Tappert's chances at stud.
Horses like Tappet, who was a $1.2 million yearling and a classic winner, and it's by Tappet himself.
McKinsey as a stallion prospect is the first stallion prospect I was part of at Gainesway. He was always top class. His Whitney at Saratoga is one of my favorite races of his.
McKinsey has won the Whitney!
The Book of Mary guy was unbelievable. We're really excited about him at Gainesway right now.
You never know where the next good horse is coming from, and as long as we're out there bringing them in, the sky's the limit.
Here on America's Day at the Races on FS1. Gorgeous Saturday afternoon in Oldsmar, Florida. Chilly afternoon, but great racing in Hot Springs, Arkansas, out at Oaklawn. Joining me on the program for the first time this afternoon, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Good to see you. We still have Concert Tour to come, making his 4-year-old return to the races for a new barn.
I agree. A lot of good stuff to come. Nice to see you as well. And I know you had the same feeling as me as we walked across the parking lot from the subway. Believe me, we made the right call canceling here. The wind is blowing. It's cold out, but it's nice in the studio. We've got some good action to bring you during the day.
Yeah, racing canceled in New York because with the wind chill, -5 in New York. It was an interesting walk to work.
Yes, I guess I jumped up a little. It blew me right into the building.
Wayward Last, stakes action next at Tampa. Mile and a 16th for fillies and mares here on the main track. And a rematch of Don't Get Cozy and All Worthy coming out of that Rampart. They were 2nd and 3rd.
I remember Wayward Last. I think Jose Martin actually trained her. I feel like she's a Flying Z stable horse.
Post-parade, we start with Nantucket Red for Michael Wright.
Well, she might be the speed. Now she appears to be much more of a turf horse than dirt horse. So unless they move this one to the turf, she's in trouble.
Special Princess moving to a new barn.
Yeah, now she's also coming off a 10-month layoff. And she didn't run such bad races, but she doesn't have a lot of speed. She'll be far back.
Won the Gasparilla last year that we just showed you earlier today. Molly's Angel at 8-1.
I guess off her last race, she's okay. Now, she does stretch out. Trainer has okay numbers off stretch outs.
An 11-time winner who was just 2nd in the Rampart.
Well, she feels like the very logical favorite off her 2nd-place finish last time. But she does go from 1 turn to 2 turns.
Striking Chrome, daughter of the Derby champ, California Chrome.
I mean, I guess her races out of town at Delaware are close enough to give her a chance here.
First or 2nd in 10 of her 14 starts. And All Worthy, graded stakes placed, was just behind Don't Get Cozy last start.
Clearly the most accomplished horse in the race. She's 2nd off a slight layoff. I thought her last race was bad. She was easily beaten by Don't Get Cozy.
Serene, she's run really well on 2 races taken off the turf.
I know. Now, one of them, keep in mind, was on synthetic. That was at Arlington Park. Looking at that race, though, she was in, I think the 73 by our figure holds up. It's just a bunch of turf horses she beat.
Yeah, and We the Clouds outside for Tim Ham.
We are the Clouds, and we are one of the rank outsiders, actually. The rank outsider, as a matter of fact.
11-1, biggest price on the board. You can play this race by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com. You can download the app as well. Take advantage of that offer. You see on your screen, $200 deposit match. Sign up with that promo code BONUS200. Feature on this Saturday card. Jonathan, help us out.
Well, when I saw that Andy had joined the show, I was trying to get cute and creative here so that he doesn't make fun of me, but look, I got to go with the 5. Don't Get Cozy. This is a horse that in her last 6 starts, she's won 3 of them. She was second twice, and the only time that she was out of the exacta, when she ran 4th a couple of races back, she broke slowly from there and was basically not eliminated at the start, but there's a built-in excuse there. From a speed figure standpoint, she kind of stands out. The only thing I don't really love is that she doesn't have a lot of tactical speed, so she's going to have to overcome it. But sometimes that works out well at Tampa because then that puts you in the proper part of the racetrack, closing on the outside than rather on the inside. So, Andy, I'm going to try to get a little bit more creative later, but I'm going to go with Don't Get Cozy for now.
Jonathan, I didn't look up beyond this horse's PPs that are shown here. People should know, those Gulfstream mile races are 1 turn. I'm not big on those 1 turn, 2 turn things here, and with her lack of speed, 2 turns probably better for her. Maybe it's better for around 1 turn. Do you worry about that at all, that she doesn't show 2 turn races?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's always a question. She's been, basically the past performances I have, I think I have 14 races back. She's been at Gulfstream every single time. She'll be finishing, and that's good for the potentially ridiculous notion or possibly accurate notion that Tampa is a deeper surface and more tiring. So maybe her ability to kind of handle that 1-turn mile, which I think is more of a test of stamina, should play into her hands. But she's going to need them to run in front of her a little bit. And 5-2 on the board is fair enough.
Tiring when your horses lose. Do we know if they have dead rails there, or is it just every rider likes to be in the 7 path at Tampa all the time? It's sort of funny, right?
You don't want to be on the inside.
They don't.
It would appear.
I don't want to be anywhere.
Not the place to be. So here's Allworthy, who's got some ground to make up on Don't Get Cozy, no question. But lightly races is just career start number 9 coming up for her. Still, it seems like she's got a lot to do to try and turn the tables.
Yeah, that's what bothers me. And she's a shorter price. Now, she's a shorter price because she has a pretty solid resume of work. And it's Safi Joseph, who wins at a high percentage, so I get that. I was going to try to wire the field with All Good Times. When she scratched, I didn't have a clever idea outside of 5-7. And, you see him running second and third. A Ralph Nix horse named Dance Doro wired the field in the last start to get it done. And she just couldn't catch them. But I think that Don't Get Cozy ran a lot better in this race than Allworthy did. And I think Jonathan agrees.
Well, there's Don't Get Cozy, back of the pack. And going to rally to get second and get by Allworthy. Pretty convincingly here.
Yeah.
But, as you mentioned, the big question will be the 2 turns.
Yeah, the 2-turn, to me, the biggest difference in 2 turns and 1 turns are paces. The paces tend to be quicker in 1 turn, so they'll often be more favorable circumstances for closers. I don't suddenly think, going from 1 turn to 2 turn makes it a longer race or a shorter race. They still have to negotiate the distance. But I think some horses' running styles are a little more suited sometimes to one or the other.
We saw with Nix go. He's got to have 2 turns to be as effective as he is.
It's weird. His Met Mile was awful. He was flat out awful in the Met Mile. And so, I'm not a big advocate of it, but I can't argue with that with Nix Go for whatever reason. And it's not like Reggie's setting slow paces, right? He, of course, they announced the Eclipse Award finalists. They're really the top 3 vote getters. They haven't announced the top 3 for Horse of the Year, but he's a fait accompli, obviously, for Horse of the Year.
You would think.
I'm still holding on to my belief that he won't face Life is Good. They still have time to come.
Why do you want this not to happen?
No, I do.
Everyone else in racing does.
I want it to happen. I just don't.
Well, you keep talking about it.
Because I don't believe they want to face the speed of Life is Good. Because Life is Good, they might beat each other, but he's not winning a race with Life is Good in there unless that horse falls down coming out of the gate.
Some might hold the opinion it's the other way around.
I'm not saying he hasn't accomplished more and run some fast races.
No,
I just
I know
think that the speed of Life is Good is kryptonite for just same way it was for Charlatan, right?
It's going to be great to watch.
Eric's very excited about these replays. Really.
Molly's Angel. Let's go back to her last performance. She won against, it was a much softer group, off a short layoff, going 7/8 of a mile, but it was on this racetrack.
I think the thing to like about her is that was a really dichotomous effort, any race she's ever run before. I mean, it was significantly better than her other races. So if you want to like her, you're saying, you know what, maybe the light went off, right? Maybe is she, almost turning 4?
Or on.
Yeah, or on. I mean, right. It went on while going off.
No, that's a good point. I mean, it absolutely could be. I mean, maybe she's just coming into her own right now.
Right. When she wins this race, we'll say clearly her last race was an indication. When she runs lousy, we'll say she turned back into the horse she was before it. Because if you draw a line through her last race, she's 20-1 to be competitive in this race, right?
You would think. It's tough to fall in love with anybody in this group.
I agree.
But I can see why. And now Don't Get Cozy, it's making more sense. The board is the favorite.
Yeah, I think it's tough to get past that last race. I mean, it's not as though it comes out of nowhere. She has the back races to back it up. She seems like the worst to beat. But I don't have a strong definitive opinion here. And I really can't make a case for anybody else. Nantucket Red, the one. Yeah, she looks like the speed, but where do you have any indication that she's an effective dirt runner? She looks atrocious on the dirt. On turf.
The evidence you have of it, sprinting at Gulfstream back in March of last year, and she did not only did she not run well, but she didn't show her usual speed. I know it was a sprint race.
She got left a little bit, but so what? I mean, she was awful, and her other dirt race wasn't particularly good either. I can't endorse her, which is why I was interested in the 2, because I thought she was like the Sprite speed horse. I don't know. Can you make a case, off a long layoff for the 3, I suppose? But it's a big price. But she also has to improve going long off near year layoff. That's not an easy thing to do.
Wayward Last, 2-turn mile and a 16th feature race coming up. Jason Beam with the call.
Serene coming up. Don't Get Cozy going forward. Swinging on We the Clouds, Antonio Gallardo to the outside gate. We the Clouds coming up and in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Wayward Lass. Special Princess shows out first. Molly's Angel is right there. Down toward the inside, Nantucket Red driving through and striking Chrome. Those 4 fastest, but Nantucket Red, quickest of all from that inside drawn, is going to get to the turn a length in front. A Special Princess and a Molly's Angel, they're out second and third. Now toward the inside, Don't Get Cozy finds a good spot in the 4th position, striking Chrome. Allworthy trying to work over toward the inside as Serene got down to the rail, and We the Clouds is at the back early on and out 3 deep. As they wind around that first turn, is Nantucket Red onto the back stretch after a 23 and 2/5 second opening quarter mile. Nantucket Red has opened up by almost 5. Special Princess, Molly's Angel, they continue to race as a team, second and third. To their outside, striking Chrome starts to advance. Serene coming through down along the inside is actually now up to 4th. Don't Get Cozy lost a couple spots there as Allworthy is now second last, and We the Clouds continues to trail. A half mile from home in the Wayward Lass, and cutting out the fractions, it's Nantucket Red. Nantucket Red after a 47 and 2/5 second opening half mile. Goes to the turn in front by 2. Molly's Angel takes up the chase now a bit closer from second. Pushed along on the outside, striking Chrome is up to 3rd. Special Princess is back a spot in 4th. Then comes Serene toward the inside. Allworthy is starting to pick up some ground. Also trying to move with that one is Don't Get Cozy, as up front Nantucket Red still the leader. Nantucket Red past the quarter pole in front by a length. Molly's Angel and striking Chrome. They're 3.5 clear of Allworthy, who continues to advance. Going to dive down toward the inside, it looks like, for Allworthy, as there is room. Into the stretch now. And here comes company for Nantucket Red. Allworthy, Don't Get Cozy moving up with Molly's Angel. Nantucket Red is still the leader, though, at the 16th pole. Don't Get Cozy, Allworthy, striking Chrome. They're all chasing Nantucket Red, who's still holding on. Nantucket Red at 15-1 to win the Wayward Lass. Nantucket Red wire to wire by 3 in the end. Allworthy, Don't Get Cozy were second and third. 4th went to striking Chrome, and 5th, Molly's Angel.
Where did this dirt performance come from? We talked about it. She had shown very little, if anything, on this surface. Got to the front today under Olaf Hernandez and just kept on going. And when the field starts to come to her, finds more in the stretch.
I agree, and she was out in the middle of the track. The two favorites went down towards the inside and sort of stalled down there. They didn't gain any ground on her whatsoever, and she didn't even break that sharply, and Hernandez sort of sent her up the lead. And it was just, I mean, honestly, if you didn't know, you would have thought she was sort of a winner every step of the way. It's just you expected she'd collapse, but she didn't. She got brave.
Also looks like she's about twice the size of anybody in the field. 7-year-old mare getting the first dirt win of her career, gate to wire. Well done. I mean, this had to be the game plan for these connections. They were drawn perfectly to take advantage of it from the inside, and Olaf Hernandez executes a 6th career win for this 7-year-old mare. Gets a stakes win on the resume on dirt.
Yep, the 2 scratching made it even easier for this horse. Took out another speed.
We head back to Oaklawn, and a look at the odds here for race 7. Coming up.
A first question I'd like to ask the morning line maker was, did they notice who beat Skate to Heaven first time out when they made the horse 8-1 morning line?
And that would be?
My prankster, who was one of the most impressive maiden winners of Saratoga. Didn't run well in the Champagne.
92 buyer in the debut?
Yeah. I mean, he's dangerous. Obviously, the 2 is dangerous off the last figure he got as well. I mean, they seem like the right 2 in here. I know the 10 for Brad Cox was a little bit interesting, though I don't like the fact that the horse did not get bet first time out. What do you make of that? You know, a Brad Cox firster that was almost 20-1.
Yeah, you do not see that really ever from this barn. Reigning Eclipse Award-winning champion trainer. That's disturbing. And
it's unusual, right?
It really
Here's
is.
a stat, though. At Oaklawn, stretching out maidens from sprints to routes in their second start, for what it's worth, he's just 1 for 12 over the last 5 years. Now, not many starters, but unusual to see those numbers for a trainer like Brad Cox, who I have to think is the favorite to win his 2nd straight Eclipse Award. He, Steve Asmussen, and Chad Brown were the 3 finalists.
It's going to be interesting, too, because I think there's going to be a lot of sentiment for Steve Asmussen just because it's a year where he became North America's winningest trainer of all time.
Well, you know, having the horse of the year obviously is going to help Brad, aside from the other accomplishments. Now, Steve has the filly,
Echo
Zulu. Does he, you know, Jackie's Warrior theoretically could be the champion sprinter. I think he lost a lot of luster with his. What about Brad Cox? Does he have? Who are the other? Eric said something. I have no idea what it was. Oh, a post parade.
Well, here's Joel Rosario.
Last time in the races.
Of course, was the pilot for Jackie's Warrior. Fast lane, blinkers on, and Lasix.
Yeah, a fast lane seems like a horse that could improve stretching out a bit, as could Capuna. Capuna ran very well last time with 79 buyer.
20-1, little Frappuccino for Alan Milligan.
Moving up from maiden claimers to maiden special, that's a tough move.
Skate to Heaven, Robertino Diodoro, 4-1.
Yeah, I'm going to bet on this horse today. Ran against Killers first time out. And,
had trouble in that race, too.
Yeah, you know, had a little bit of trouble. Wasn't totally dead on the board at 16-1 either. That was, you know, that was a tough spot.
Speed early, trying to go long in the debut at 1 1/8, cuts back today.
It's unusual that you see a second-time starter cutting back going to a mile.
And that's the case with that one. It gets Lasix for start number 2, paid in full. Here's the 8 pinch hitter, Don Von Hemel.
Tough to claim from Brad Cox. So this horse hasn't run badly in 2 maiden claimers.
18-1, next door Kentucky Bourbon, the 9.
Really dropped off last time out after running credibly at Remington.
Bullet work coming in. By the way, 3 furlongs. See if that sharpens that horse up a little. Blue Norther, start number 2. This is the Brad Cox second timer.
I thought this horse ran pretty well first time out, to be honest, and is very dangerous in here.
First time starter by more than ready here, Stockpiler.
Well, we saw a long shot first time starter win earlier in the card. Will we have 2?
2 sprints and then stretching out. It's a move a lot of people like. Having that foundation and gets blinkers here, Switzer.
I couldn't find an excuse at 3-5 last time out, and just feels like why in that pedigree is we're supposed to get better with more distance.
Rome also eligible. We'll have Alex Kinchari aboard, trained by Doug Anderson.
Yeah, we'll have to improve.
Well, Concert Tour still to come. Going to make his debut for the Brad Cox barn in the 5th season, the feature on this card. And, of course, Brad with Blue Norther coming up, making his second start. Let's head to Gary Stevens for more.
Yeah, guys, Blue Northern in here, but we're going to get straight to Concert Tour in the 5th season. Brad Cox, now the trainer. He's had him since October of last year, showed a ton of promise last year. What's it been like to train leading up to the 5th season today?
Well, he's a really good horse of the morning. You know, you can do all you can with him of the morning, and then, it's always different in the afternoon. But he's passed every test with flying colors of the morning. We just shipped him up for the fairgrounds. He's obviously familiar with Oaklawn. We couldn't do any more with him of the mornings in preparation for a race. So, it's a good race off. It's a tough race off the layoff, but I feel like he's up for it, and we'll see how it goes.
Blinker's coming off this afternoon. I don't know if that's something that you thought that he didn't need anymore, just with your program leading up to today's race. What are your expectations, best case scenario this afternoon?
Obviously, Joel knows the horse. He never really wants, obviously we picked him up. He's an older horse, so he's very forward, never any indication that he needed blinkers. So we thought we'd peel him off of him, just try to break, let him get his feet underneath of him. Joel's very good at that, and hopefully, he runs a winning race. Looking for a positive effort. I think we'll get it. We'll see how it works out and go from there.
I want to congratulate you being nominated for the Eclipse Award for 2021. Wish you luck in here in the Blue Northern, and good luck in the you're the finalist as the Eclipse Award. Sorry about that. But I want to wish you luck in here and also with Concert Tour and the feature.
Awesome. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that.
Guys.
One of the absolute best in the business. It's been a rapid rise for Brad Cox, and very happy to see all his success. And what a job he did with Nick Skull. Undefeated around 2 turns. Horse who's going to, as you mentioned, very likely be the horse of the year. Brad's the favorite to win his 2nd straight Eclipse Award as outstanding trainer.
Also, very hard to find people that don't have positive things to say about Brad.
Yeah.
He's just as accommodating and easy for people like us to deal with, as far as whether you want to speak to him for an interview or show up for things. He's very easy to get along with. And, for me, when I did a podcast with him 3 or 4 years ago, Greg, and I had no idea he was trained for 15 years. I didn't realize he'd been around for so long. And, like once or twice during his career, he basically had to totally reinvent himself when he lost main owners. And at this point, he is at the absolute top with a number of other trainers. But to win very possibly 2 Eclipse Awards in a row, not an easy thing to do.
No, not a lot have done that in this game. Of course, Monomoy Girl, the one that kind of turned it all around for him.
First grade 1 winner. Sort of incredible what he's done in those few years.
Well, we'll see what happens with Concert Tour coming up. That's going to be fun to watch. But he has Blue Northern here. Again, that's the 10. So start number 2 for this son of Frosted, who 5-1 on the board. We'll see. Didn't do a lot of running in that day. Well, you liked the effort more.
I thought he made a decent run sort of around the turn to kind of get into the race, and then he kind of flattened out. It's hard to judge. You watch replays on sloppy tracks, first-time starters. I guess you could argue that maybe sometimes when they run a little bit, it's kind of a good sign, running through the slop, making a little bit of a run. But it's hard to get away from the fact that he was almost 20-1 first time out. It's not a good sign, especially from a trainer like Brad Cox. You see, a Chad Brad, a Todd Pletcher, a Brad Cox, a Steve Asmussen, they run a first-time starter, they're 20-1. It's surprising when they run well. It doesn't mean that they're not fooling people sometimes, but for the most part, they're probably, it's like sometimes we like to bet second-time starters that are short prices first time out that don't run well. Conversely, you have to be a little bit skeptical of ones that aren't bet.
Meanwhile, back to Switzer for a moment. At least tactical in those 2 sprints, his first 2 starts. Now the blinker's on, and you see that bullet drill. Wasn't out of the gate coming into this. Is he going to be the one in front?
Don't you think they've got to send him from that post? I mean, if they don't go, then they're going to get just completely lost, right?
He's interesting. 7-1 from that second to the outside post. You see him there at the back of your screen. That 12 horse here, Switzer. 3-year-old by McLean's Music for Ron Moquette.
Listen, you think of McLean's Music and his brilliance as a sprinter, and his dam was a brilliant sprinter. He's also the sire of a Preakness winner in cloud computing. So doesn't mean his horses can't go long.
He steps in, last to load the also eligible. It's the 7th from Oaklawn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Blue Norther broke fast, but not as fast as Rome, who will cross and clear. Rome very fast. Fast lane away in a second. Then comes Blue Norther into the outside Switzer. Next goes Paid in Full, followed by Little Frappuccino. Capuna is midfield. He's a length and a half in front of Skate to Heaven, and they turn into the backstretch, and Fast Lane is quicker than Rome to the backside, so Fast Lane leads by a half length. Now it's a full length in front of Rome in second. Switzer is 3 deep. Blue Norther's the gray between horses, and Paid in Full's 5th at the rail. Capuna is galloping along in 6th. He's in the blue and white with the white blinkers, and he's about 4 from the front. Skate to Heaven, Little Frappuccino, and Pinch Hitter are all next. Then it's 2 back to Stockpiler, and the trailer is Kentucky Bourbon to the half-mile pole. Finish line is the 16th pole, and there goes Rome outside of Fast Lane. So Rome puts ahead in front of Fast Lane in second. These two are 2.5 clear of Paid in Full, Blue Norther who drops back, and to the outside Switzer. Capuna is beginning to unwind, and here comes Capuna. He is 5th now, could get into 4th. Meanwhile, Rome is getting away at the top of the stretch. He's built up a 3-length lead on Fast Lane, but now Capuna continues to lengthen his stride, and he and Switzer are after Rome, and now these two, Capuna and Switzer, are the ones that emerge at the top of the stretch. Capuna with a sweeping move is now a length and a half in front of Switzer, who cannot go with him. Rome is next, then Fast Lane, but it is Capuna, and now he's opened up. Rome going to try to hold second from Skate to Heaven. It is Capuna. Capuna won by 4.5. Skate to Heaven was second. Rome third. Fast Lane finished 4th.
Capuna, Ricardo Santana Jr., Brett Calhoun, and a son of hard spun. 3rd time the charm.
Well, he was probably going to win, and he ran well, and he had run well in his last start. And obviously, he's a horse to take a look at. You always want to see what these speed figures come back, but this was an impressive win on the racetrack. This is not one that David Cohen should be proud of with his ride of the 6. He was too busy worrying about being cute and saving ground, doing things, and he got himself blocked about 7 times. Now, given the margin of victory, it's hard to imagine that the 6 would have beaten the 2. But he was right with this horse around the 3/8 pole. And, Santana understands you got to go. And Cohen was lollygagging around and trying to save a little inch of ground here. And she should have thought more about saving ground the first turn and maybe not in the second turn. And, it would have been closer, but the winner was impressive.
Capuna appreciating this extra ground, and they've slowly given him more and more start by start. 6.5 to 7 mile today in the 2 turns, and Capuna with a victory to break his maiden for Brett Calhoun with Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard. We're going to take a timeout. A lot more coming up. The feature next with concert tour of Rob Atras, his story. It's all in the family with him. Stay with us.
This is the horse.
He is just too good.
This is the horse who became only the 2nd champion 2-year-old to win the Travers in 3 decades. This is the horse who is the only Breeders' Cup juvenile hero ever to lift the Belmont Stakes. History-making brilliance. That's his essential quality. Essential quality. This is the horse. Just imagine.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Run Happy is the #1 second crop sire by stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual Future Pool 1 favorite. A leading dirt sire, and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS1. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Gary Stevens, Jonathan Kinchin with you. We just saw the feature out at Tampa Bay, and it was Nantucket Red. Olaf Fernandez putting the 7-year-old mare, as expected, on the lead. Surprising, though, that she kept on going on a surface she had not really been effective on before.
Yeah, I guess getting clear in this race on going long, she really ran to her turf races, and her turf races were highly competitive with those in the dirt. It's just they rarely transferred so readily from one surface to the other. She did it. She did it impressively. A nice win by her. Wow.
Michael Wright. Recently, the 7-year-old mare came into his barn, and now she's a stakes winner on dirt, returning $33.60 for the win. 7-year-old by Get Stormy out of a Smart Strike mare, owned by Colebrook Farms. 1-7-5. Meanwhile, back at Oaklawn featured coming up next. Back in the 7th, Kapuna, Brett Calhoun, Ricardo Santana Jr. just draws off from this field late stretch.
Yeah, got that good clean run and just able to run back to that figure last time out. The 6 will probably win his next start. Preferably he'll get a smarter ride.
Let's skate to heaven for Robertino Diodoro. Definitely want to keep your eyes on next time out. You probably won't get anything near 5-1. 2, 6, and 46 to 1 on that also eligible, who draws into the field and certainly helps your trifectas if you had it. Earlier this summer, Rob Atras was an up-and-coming trainer who had said he was just excited to be competing against the likes of Todd Pletcher and Steve Asmussen and their fillies Malathaat and Clairiere. Few thought his filly Maracuja would wind up springing one of the biggest upsets we saw all summer. For a trainer who had just gone out on his own 2 years earlier and has mostly claiming horses, the first Grade 1 win of his career was a game changer.
Yeah, I found it. Okay, perfect.
Growing up, really, it's all I ever wanted to do was be at the racetrack. Kind of like a sponge. I wanted to learn as much as I could all the time. I didn't know if I'd be able to get the opportunity to be a trainer. I wanted to learn as much as I could all the time.
I actually was working for his vet. I met him on my very first day on the job. He had zero interest in talking to me. So of course I was interested. We've been together ever since.
She does everything. You know, she helps me out with, you know, the training to, you know, payroll, books, all that kind of stuff. So she definitely couldn't do without her.
I really like spending all day with him, which is pretty great. Yeah.
These two
He's very intellectual, but also very hands-on. He tries to tailor each horse's training to the individuals very much, especially since we have everything from bottom claimers to like Maracuja. She is a monster, I'm telling you. In her stall, she's like a quiet little lamb. She's so sweet. She comes out of the stall and she's like, I'm big and I am in charge and I'm going to run you over.
And they're off in the 105th running of the Coaching Club American Oaks. And Maracuja is out going for the lead.
You know, so many things have to go right to even make a race, never mind win a race. So every week she just, you know, she was showing us that she was going to give us a good effort.
And it is Malathaat in front here by a half length. Maracuja right there in second.
We gave her a little vacation in between the Kentucky Oaks and the CCA Oaks. She had like a minor setback, and that's why we missed the Mother Goose, and it actually worked perfect for her. She came back from the farm. She was 2 weeks on the farm. She came back ready.
And Maracuja is now making her move on the outside, so it's 3 of them across.
We're coming down the stretch and I'm like, okay, we're gonna be third. All right, that's great. And I'm like, okay, maybe we're gonna be second. And then it was like, oh my God.
Maracuja on the outside, now a furlong to the finish in the Coaching Club American Oaks. It is Malathaat. Here's a new challenge from Maracuja on the outside. Malathaat and Maracuja, they will battle on to the finish in a terrific rendition here, and it looked like Maracuja got it.
She needed every ounce of the ground to get there, you know.
It was just amazing to see what we thought she was, realized. was.
You know, just to have everything come together, it doesn't happen all the time. To happen in such a big race and to win that race just means a lot. It definitely gives you, confidence going forward.
I would love to have some more nice young horses. When we first started, we had 7 horses. All of them are claiming horses. And we've been lucky enough to, with our success, we've received some good horses too.
When we started out, we were just happy to win races and just to be here and survive. And we've grown in stable size, but, we've tried to do more quality over quantity. Try to lead over a contender every time is basically our goal.
We were there for that big upset this summer. That really was such a buzz when that happened. But that's why you get into this game, to have moments like that, opportunities like that. And Rob Atras and Brittany Atras made the most of it.
I think as the meet goes on, there's so many great races, especially some of this race on Travers Day, you tend to forget sometimes about the bigger races, especially right in the beginning of the meet. I think that was the first weekend. And it was such a boring race going in. You just thought, Malathon's going to just gallop along here. And it was turned into the most thrilling race. And I just remember, I think I was walking the set after it, and just one person after another. And I ran to Dale Romans, and he's like, oh, my God, it was such a great race.
And one of the great rides we saw all summer long from Ricardo Santana
Great
Jr.
ride by Ricardo, absolutely, in a big situation. A big win for Rob Atras, obviously. But it just shows, you suddenly take it for granted. Oh, it's just going to be this boring race. Malathon's so good, she's too good for these. Man, it was a thrilling race. It really was, and a super competitive race as well.
Yeah, obviously one of the biggest upsets, but one of the great moments all summer long at Saratoga. Rob Atras, we're going to see him tomorrow. Racing resumes after the cold weather obviously canceled today, but they're back tomorrow. There's pick 6 carryover, and this is part of it. The ladies at 1 1/8, and the Atras barn will send out Battle Bling.
It feels to me like the main 2 players are Battle Bling off the claim. Mike Dubb and Rob Atras. She was in the best part of the racetrack here. It was a day you didn't want to be inside. It was the one horse actually got a foolish ride coming up a dead rail into Rice Horse. Look for that one coming back. And the horse ran very well. Now, she was flattered because the winner came back and won a stake. Now, when the winner came back and won a stake, Maiden Beauty, she was on that super speed track we had around New Year's Day. But still, it was a good field. She's run in New York. The horse outside of her has run very well, but she's coming up from Maryland. If she brings that form here, she'll be formidable. They look like the big 2, the 4 and 5.
Yeah, her chief rivals, you mentioned, going to be right next door. Ms. Leslie, 3 in a row. What she has put together, she's 7 for 16 lifetime. Part of what's going to be a heavily bet pick 6 with the carryover.
I thought it was a fun card tomorrow. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's card as well. And the weather is going to be much better. It's going to be much warmer. These people are asking me, are you going to run on Sunday? It's like, you can look at the same weather forecast that I look at and see it's going to be 20 degrees warmer and a lot less wind. So we'll be running.
Oh, yes. Back to action tomorrow, no question. Meanwhile, Tampa's going to close out their card on the turf. 1 1/16, a maiden special weight. And again, investment strategy, the one to beat, but Chad Brown getting way over bet here at 2 to 5.
2 to 5 is a little ridiculous, but this horse did run very well and gained that 79 buyer. Was beat by another Chad Brown runner who had the run of the race up front. They were high on this horse going in, and she's a very unlikely loser.
Starship Belmont, third time out, but first on grass.
Tries the turf the first time. There's a little bit of turf pedigree in the second generation, not from the first dam, but War Dancers.
First-time starter, next door at 27:01.
A Brazilian dam that won on the turf in Brazil. She's produced a couple of winners in the turf, but they weren't very good.
La Loba Faraz tried the turf for the first time last start, wound up runner-up.
I want you to say that 3 times fast, Greg.
I'm glad I'm not Jason Beam here.
For a variety of reasons, or just because of that one?
18 to
Sorry,
1.
Jason.
Silver C, Kristoff Clement, first-time starter.
Sources a half to Mr. Alec, who some remember, a very nice runner for Kristoff Clement. Not taking much money, which isn't a good sign, but the Kristoff sends over some good horses to Tampa.
Wheezy does it, logical second choice.
No question about it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this horse's debut on the turf.
Had trouble in that debut as well. The 8 Dakota Dancer stretches out.
She's probably going to be forwardly placed in here. Whether or not that matters remains to be seen.
38 to 1 in a rider change here on the 9 Farewell Lady.
By the way, there's plenty of turf pedigree. The dam was 4 for 14 in the turf. Hit the board 11 times. An Illinois bred, but plenty of pedigree.
Riechborg, 15 to 1.
Bill Mott going over to Tampa. I know you always bet those. You always have 20 or 30 in every Mott starter, Greg.
Hall of Famer, one of the greats. 13-1, had an impressive winner earlier on the card. First-time starter, Beach Breeze.
Dam was a winner on the turf. She's produced 2 horses that couldn't run a step on the turf, though Treasure Beach the sire.
I've been chasing this horse for so long. So glad she's back on the grass because the Dam actually produced a horse who was very impressive going down the hill in Stakes Company on the grass out west.
It seems like her form has vanished, but this is a horse that at different times in her career has actually run some pretty credible races on either surface.
40-1 from the outside post. We've got a minute to post here coming up. JK, what are your thoughts here on this finale from Tampa?
It's one of those situations where if you just look at the past performances and what horses have done in speed figures and connections, the one investment strategy deserves to be this low of a price. Maybe a touch higher, but the figure was fast. Had a little bit of a trip last time, breaking slow. It should improve second time out. There's a lot of things to like. Sammy Camacho was drawn towards the outside in the last race with Kuramada and somehow found trouble and then ended up 5 wide. I'd imagine that Chad doesn't want to do that again, and I'd imagine that Sammy probably doesn't want to do that again either, so hopefully he'll work out a better trip. The only other horse I thought was interesting, and I know that Andy had some interest as well, is the 7 Wheezy Does It, or at least wanted to talk about Wheezy Does It. And this is a horse that had some trouble, and the type of horse that's one of those kind of universal bad trips. Everyone saw the bad trip and was closing into a pace that wasn't particularly quick. So I think if you want to try to beat the favorite, the 7 Wheezy Does It makes sense, but the Wheezy Does It is going to have to find about 10 to 15 speed figure points to beat the favorite.
Yeah, I think that the thing about the favorite, Jonathan, and neither one of us wants to sit here and extol the virtues of heavy odds-on favorites, especially in big fields, is that she didn't just run a good figure in her last start. She ran very well in doing so. She was against the flow of the race. It was a slow-paced race on the inner turf at Belmont. So it's a very legitimate 79 buyer. It's not kind of a phony-ish number. Did you feel similarly?
I did feel that, and like I said, the fact that this horse lost a lot of ground as well. We talk about it in turf racing all the time. It's not as important in dirt racing. It definitely matters in turf racing. Investment strategy was wide.
I agree, and we'd be remiss in saying that Clarvich Stables, who owns this one, and one of the 3 finalists, along with Juddmonte Farms and Godolphin, who are the likely winner, but one of the 3 finalists for Owner of the Year. I think that's the 3rd time in 4 years, including 3 years, the winner in the 2019 season.
It's pretty incredible to have
3
that
or 4
kind of
years,
consistency.
Maybe. No, I agree, obviously, and they win almost every owner's title in New York. And is really a barn that's flourished with Chad Brown. Clarvich has had horses for a long, long time here. Some good horses, including Read the Footnotes for the late, great Rick Violet. But that barn has really flourished under Chad's tutelage. And we'll be looking forward to seeing search results coming back as well. She's working, as is Highly Motivated, who hasn't run since the Derby.
Yeah, search results runner-up. 2 Malathaat in that Kentucky Oaks. That was such a fun race.
Would have been a little more fun if she won. But it was a great race, I agree.
Who were you watching that race with?
I was watching it with the Connections. We went to a restaurant for dinner afterwards. I had a search results hat on, and I got out of the bathroom. One of the waitresses said to me, "Tough beat."
They love their racing there. That is Concert Tour. Rebel winner from last year on the right-hand side of your screen, making his 4-year-old return to the races off an 8-month layoff. Was with Baffert previously when he was on the Derby Trail. Obviously ran in the Preakness. Poor performance. Really didn't show up that day. And he went to the sidelines with bone chips and ankle surgery. Now he's back with Brad Cox. And the way Brad Cox, we heard Gary talk to him earlier, but I've heard some other comments from Brad. He sounds like he's really high on this horse and his ability to not only come out of this race, but move on eventually to the Met Mile.
Well, I'm sure he'd like to, and it'll be interesting, what he wants to do. And one thing about Brad, and I think this is overlooked when people talk about the success he's had with Knicks Go. He's very smart and simple. He's a speed horse that wants to be running on the front end, and he'll go as fast as he has to, but that doesn't concern him. You got to be in front. Now, with Concert Tour, I wonder if Brad will say the same thing. This is a horse that has shown that he's just not efficient when he's rating off of other horses, especially in route races, maybe sprinting. So can he get him to relax in a race like this? Now, there are other speeds in here. What is he going to do with the 1 on the rail, Thomas Shelby, and the 9 outside Mucho, but particularly Thomas Shelby? Are they just going to let him roll and try to get in front of them? Because I have no confidence that he can rate effectively going 2 turns.
That's going to be the key thing to watch in that 5th season with Concert Tour. Coming back off that 8-month layoff, what will his running style be? We'll get to that race coming up. That's approaching the 6-minute mark to post. And by the way, Concert Tour 6-5 favorite in his return off the layoff for the new barn. Here it's 3-5, and you know we had that race earlier when that Chad Brown Peter Brand horse went off at even money. That horse was significantly overbet. He got beat.
Kuramata.
This horse, I think more in line. He's overbet a little, but he deserves to be a heavy favorite.
Yeah, I mean, there was never a chance this horse was going to sniff even money. I don't know what morning line they made this horse, but
2-1.
Well, that's a terrible morning line. But you know, a track should be conscious of making more accurate morning lines. It screws up the whole morning line, making the horse that high. 3-5, 4-5. I don't know. The horse drew well on the inside. Sammy Camacho is one of the better riders there. He's done well with horses he's ridden for Chad Brown. I'm not trying to beat this horse.
Yeah, they have that dog leg at 1 mile and 1/16 here, where you get onto the backstretch there, which helps you certainly being on the inside here, and that's the inside post he'll break from today. With Sam Camacho for Chad Brown. 3-5 investment strategy, start number 2. Beat is the favorite in her debut against her stablemate. We'll see if she can get her picture taken here.
And she, of course, was bought at Tattersall Investment Strategy, where they've had so much success, especially with the Kingmans they bought, including Domestic Spending, who was also a finalist for the Eclipse for Top Turf Horse, and I think a deserving horse. And should
this is yet another Kingman here, 4-year-old filly. We're set. Let's go to Jason Beam to close out the card here from Tampa. Of course, Concert Tour in the feature from Oakland, the 5th season, up next.
Silver Sea goes in. Venus Oizo, Isaac Castillo to the outside draw. Just about set for his start. Actually, Silver Sea backed away there in gate 6. Now she goes in. Venus Oizo to the outside to complete the line. Goes forward. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Bit of a tardy start there for Beach Breeze out in gate 11. Good start, Starship Belmont, who sets sail after the early lead. Fantastic Raphael in the red colors is forwardly placed. And up from the outside, Venus Oizo's right there with Richebour. They come into the stretch for the first time round. Starship Belmont, Richebour, investment strategy. The favorite is close up down toward the inside, now a joint second. In between horses, Fantastic Raphael's out in 4th. Venus Oizo is 5th on the outside, going to be 3 deep as they go to that first turn. Length and a half more back to Dakota Dancer. Farewell Lady, they race together 6th and 7th. La Loba Feroz had to check off heels there from 8th. Then comes Wheezy Does It in 9th. It's a length and a half more to Silver Sea in 10th. And at the back early on is Beach Breeze, 11th and last. 5.5 furlongs remain in their journey as a long shot Starship Belmont takes them onto the back stretch after a 23-1 opening quarter mile. Starship Belmont there by a length. Richebourg investment strategy. They race together 2nd and 3rd. They're a length clear of Venus Oizo on the outside in 4th. Then a lineup of 4 horses in behind that. Right there is Fantastic Raffaella moving in between horses now. La Loba Feroz starts a little bit of a backstretch move. Dakota Dancer stays toward the inside. Wheezy Does It is in between horses right now, but going to be 3 or 4 wide as they go to the turn. 48-1 for the opening half mile. It's still Starship Belmont there. Investment strategy, Sammy Camacho has a seam down toward the inside, is going to come through. Trying to follow that move, La Loba Feroz. Wheezy Does It is starting to launch on the outside, but is cast out 4 or 5 wide as investment strategy makes the lead at the top of the stretch. Starship Belmont tries to stick with that one. La Loba Feroz out 3 deep. Wheezy Does It trying to run on, following the move toward the inside is Dakota Dancer. Investment strategy has the lead at the furlong pole. La Loba Feroz trying to close in, battling out bravely Starship Belmont toward the outside. Here's La Loba Feroz up on the outside of investment strategy. Investment strategy digs in. La Loba Feroz on the outside. Investment strategy look to hold on. It's very close to La Loba Feroz right there. It was 4 or 5 more back to the rest.
Very tight, but it looks like investment strategy may have held on.
And Jason Beam had to say La Loba Feroz quite a few times down the stretch.
Indeed. Feature up next at Oaklawn. It's the 5th season and the return of Concert Tour, last year's Rebel winner when he was with Bob Baffert. Now he's debuting for Brad Cox.
Yeah, no, looking forward to seeing him run, taking a lot of money.
Thomas Shelby, he has won 7 of his last 10 starts.
Boy, I mean, I didn't expect him to be a clear-cut second choice, but they're just going with him. They don't rate him.
Rated R Superstar. He's a former stakes winner on this racetrack.
If you like him, you're hoping that Thomas Shelby and Concert Tour hook up here because he's a dead closer.
Snapper Sinclair, he was on the Triple Crown Trail back in 2018.
His Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile worries me, but this horse has got plenty of dirt races that give him a chance. He's a big price.
Necker Island, he was in the 2020 Kentucky Derby.
He's really kind of improved, and I like him, with Tom Hartman now. I just wonder if he's quite good enough.
8-1 with Francisco Arrieta. Here he is, Concert Tour, back off an 8-month layoff.
Yeah, you have to be really interested in what does he do today? How does he race and how effective is he?
Brad Cox says he's been training lights out in the morning. Here's a Toka for D. Wayne Lucas.
He looks like he's very overmatched.
He just missed against Caddo River.
He did. Oh, he got put up. He got put up against Caddo River.
Oh, yeah, via DQ, who had finished ahead of Concert Tour when they last met. Here's the 7 long-range Toddy Dallas Stewart.
Got a couple of Rebel winners here as he won the Rebel 2 years before Concert Tour did.
Silver Prospector, the gray son of Declaration of War for Steve Asmussen.
On his good races, he's a player in here. He's just a little tough to trust off the long layoff.
And Mucho for John Ortiz. Now the 6-year-old going to try this mile distance for the first time.
I believe this is his first 2-turn race of his career. A horse who was second in our hopeful as the favorite after a very impressive maiden win and originally the Claiborne horse. Claiborne, bred at Claiborne.
There is the 7-5 favorite, Concert Tour for trainer Brad Cox, debuting in his barn for his 4-year-old return. Let's go to Gary Stevens for more.
Yeah, guys, so I'm Joel Rosario. He knows this horse, Concert Tour. He rode him in his first 4 races, and right now he's running checks and balances. How's he acting compared to when he was at his best as a 3-year-old? Has he grown up? How's he moving? Is he alert? Is he a little more alert than he was as a 3-year-old? Those sorts of things. But to try and predict how Joel Rosario is going to ride is impossible because Joel Rosario is a field rider. He adapts to any situation. There's been many times that I thought he had no chance of being up close. He's on the lead. And other times, see horses that you think are going to come from way out of it, and he's got those on the lead too. So let's watch and see and enjoy, guys. JK, what about it?
I'll be honest with you, Concert Tour feels cold on the board to me. This is a horse that's like a derby-type horse. Switching to Brad Cox, give me Mucho trying the distance for a first time. If he can take back, make one run, and get some pace, we'll see here. Andy, how about you?
I take a small shot with Sapper Sinclair because he's got races good enough to win, and he's a bit of a price in here. But I'll be honest with you, I found this to be a very, very difficult race, and I'm just really looking for it. I don't particularly like Concert Tour. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does because he could potentially be a player in the division going forward.
Horse who many believe just had a world of talent. Started his career 3 for 3, won the Rebel. Then his first beat coming in his final Derby Pret, ultimately passed on the Derby. This is the return. He'll break from post 5. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
They're off. Thomas Shelby broke a half stride slow. Mucho broke fast, and so did Concert Tour, and these two are 1-2, and Mucho has the lead. Concert Tour is a second. Thomas Shelby will do no better than third early. Mucho can pick his path. He clears off, and he is 2 lengths in front. Long Range Toddy, Silver Prospector, and Snapper Sinclair are next. Then Necker Island and Rated R Superstar, and the trailer is Atoka. Mucho to the backstretch. He leads it now by a measured 3/4 of a length as Thomas Shelby splits horses. Concert Tour will be 3 wide, and now these 3 engage up the backstretch. It is Mucho a half length in front of Thomas Shelby in second, with Concert Tour 3 deep in third. 2 lengths further back to Rated R Superstar. Here's the 9-year-old making an early move, and he goes all the way up into a joint third. Snapper Sinclair tries to go with him. Silver Prospector is 4 from the front. Necker Island needs a way through. Then to the outside in Atoka. The trailer is Long Range Toddy. 3 furlongs from the wire. 16th pole is the wire in the 33rd, 5th season, and Mucho is still there. Thomas Shelby continues to attack in second. Atoka has made a big run. Here's Atoka 3 deep. Concert Tour is between horses. Rated R Superstar at the rail. Then comes Snapper Sinclair, top of the stretch. Mucho and Thomas Shelby. Rated R Superstar, the 9-year-old, is running a very, very big race, and here he comes in the center of the racetrack. It is Mucho in front. Rated R Superstar, Thomas Shelby, Silver Prospector, and Mucho is turning them come away. Mucho has the lead. Rated R Superstar, one more try. Mucho, Rated R Superstar. The 33rd, 5th season goes to the old man. Rated R Superstar over Mucho and Thomas Shelby.
The 9-year-old Rated R Superstar. We've been covering this horse year after year after year. Gets the 10th win of his career.
And yeah, I thought the rider was making a mistake when he moved him up so aggressively in the backstretch, but got to give Dan Carrera a lot of credit here. He got him into position and allowed him to get the race won. Thomas Shelby didn't break that well, and Cohen wasn't aggressive at the start. Excellent ride on Mucho by Giroux, just sending him to the front and clearing the front, and he looked like he had it. He just fell apart. It went just a little too far for him. Collapsed at the end, and Concert Tour, he was atrocious, and I believe he's a horse that can't win races rating, and if he's going to be effective, he's going to have to cut him back in distance. But after this race, I mean, how can you be confident he could be effective good any distance?
Meanwhile, Rated R Superstar, look, he's obviously getting a little long in the tooth, but he still has a ton of ability. And he came into this race. This was his 9-year-old debut. In very sharp form, he was completely dismissed on the tote board at 25-1.
Totally dismissed. Not sure why he had to be that big a price. I made a little exactabach of some long shots, 2, 3, and 8. I was nowhere close. I mean, I got one of them, but big deal. And I mean, just... You know, I think it came down to what you thought of the speeds and what you thought of Concert Tour. And I think a lot of us were very skeptical about Concert Tour. He's a horse that when he's been effective, he's had everything go his own way. And he was awful here. I mean.
Yeah, did not show up in his return. Look, this is the first start back off an 8-month layoff. Maybe we can forgive that. We'll see what he comes back and how he comes back next time out. But JK, Rated R Superstar, horse I believe you picked at a huge price on our show a couple of years ago, showing he can still win.
Yeah, apparently he likes it at Oaklawn, and he ran well. Look, I mean, he got a pace to close into, that's for sure. I do want to say, in the fear of red boarding, I don't want to be red boarding here, but I did kind of say it at the beginning. I think that Concert Tour was cold. When you see a horse that is on the Derby trail, that is at one point the Derby favorite, he comes back to a high percentage trainer or comes back to his original trainer and is cold like that, man, that's a problem. And I think that there was probably a hint that he wasn't going to run the races he ran last year. We'll see.
His last 2 starts now at this racetrack have not gone his way. But, I mean, this was obviously a big disappointment because by the sounds of it, I mean, Brad Cox has been talking about how sharp he was training in the morning, said he couldn't be training better.
Well, we'll see what he does with him. I mean, if he was my horse, I would look, and he was going to go on, he felt physically he's okay. Honestly, I know I'm going to be a homer for here, but a race like the Tom Fool at 7 furlongs, a distance where he won, where he showed he could stalk, because they only run 6 furlongs at Oaklawn. So if he wants to go 7, he's got to basically come here or go somewhere else. Maybe consider a race like that, a 1-turn 7 furlong race, to see if he can be effective in those kind of races, because good luck to him here going long. No interest.
Rated R Superstar, 25-1, the 9-year-old. Already a millionaire, now picks up the 10th win of his career. We'll have the prices when we come back. Back on America's Day at the Races on FS1. Our program brought to you in part by the champion sprinter Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting, now standing at Claiborne Farm. 5th season, not the return that I'm sure Brad Cox and company wanted from Concert Tour. A little disappointing in the comeback. As for the 9-year-old, rated our superstar, he steps up, and J.K. mentioned it. He did get a pace to run into, but still a good performance off the bench for him.
Well, yeah, he got some pace to run at, but it's not like the pace fell apart. I mean, other than Concert Tour, the 2 speeds ran 1, 2, 3 in here, and I think Cabrera made the winning move when he got this horse in the race. I thought he was making a mistake, he's kind of a big closer, and he kind of not a grinder. Well, I was dead wrong, and Cabrera gave this horse a terrific ride.
And how about Mucho? Is this a horse you'd give another shot at this mile distance?
You know, it's always a question, right? Sometimes sprinters stretching out run their best races going long first time, but he ran a very credible race.
2-9-1, 25-1 upset winner in the 5th season. Let's go to Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, I went down and spoke to Joel Rosario about the performance of Concert Tour, and he was disappointed, but he just said, Gary, he doesn't, if he's not on the lead, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like being behind horses. He said, I'm going to suggest that they maybe put the blinkers back on him when he shows speed, and he's at least up there fighting for the lead. He said that's when he's a better horse. He said, we'll see what happens next time that they lead him over.
2 of his 3 victories, he was in front. He was able to fight from off the pace to beat his stablemate earlier in his career, but that race he really had to fight against Freedom Fighter in that spot. We'll see when he comes back if he's on the lead. Can he be the horse we thought he was going to be last year?
I'm going to be honest, I've never liked this horse, so I'm not. You know, this horse had a lot. I was never a fan of his, but he could turn out to be a decent horse. He did rate winning at 7 furlongs, as you alluded to. So maybe if he can be a little bit rateable, it's going 1 turn. But, man, I mean, if Brad, I have no reason to believe Brad wasn't being honest when he expected him to run well. He's a very straightforward guy. So this was atrocious.
Yeah, bit of that was the biggest surprise that we've seen all afternoon. Not these big prices that as poorly as Concert Tour ran, but hopefully we could see an improved Concert Tour second off the bench next time out. There are no freebies in this game. We just witnessed that in the last race at Tampa. 2-5 favorite, Chad Brown, a horse who was a standout in this turf race, barely able to hang on as the odds-on favorite.
I can already predict it. I'm going to hear she got sort of, she made the lead too soon and she got a little bored up front. I don't know. I thought this was a fairly unimpressive victory for her, holding off a horse that on paper she was supposed to be much better than. Now, nobody else was close, but she got a very, very good trip. The horse who was the pace setter to Price finished 3rd in there. I mean, she just got it done. That is not what you call winning like a 2-5 shot should.
Yeah, that's why you're be wary if you're going to go all in on a 2-5 favorite. Able to get the job done here, but by a whisker for Chad Brown and Klarovich. And look at that pick 5.
Friend of mine had the pick 4.
Not bad. 7,400 for the pick 4 this afternoon, and a carryover in the pick 6 with a 2-5 favorite closing things out. We're going to take a timeout. More coming up. The finale, I should say, from Oaklawn right after this on FS1.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
For 3 generations, the Bond Racing Stable has held to a simple philosophy. If you take care of the horses, they will take care of you. That guiding principle drives every aspect of operations at the family's Songhill Farm and Racing Stables. From breeding to breaking, racing and retiring, our commitment to our horses is reflected in everything we do. Now you can join our Grade 1 winning team with racing partnerships starting as low as $3,000. Bond Racing Stables, 3 generations of thoroughbred excellence.
And on the morning of the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need to create the noblest of all creatures. So God made a racehorse. He needed a horse that is faster, smarter, sleeker, and sounder, so God made a racehorse. He created an animal sound of wind with oversized nostrils to breathe fire like a dragon and turn oxygen into rocket fuel. He gave it a kind eye so his caretaker could look into his soul. And then on the afternoon of the 8th day, God realized that he needed an animal that was even swifter, smarter, and sounder.
An animal that can compete on the world stage and win iconic races like at Royal Ascot.
So God created a legend. The legend lives on at Alapa.
You're watching America's Day at the Races, the battle of the century. We're all hoping, still coming up here in a couple of weeks here. Andy believes it will not happen. It is a go, though, for right now with the Breeders' Cup Classic champ Nick Sko and Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner Life is Good.
Yeah, well, you know, listen, I mean, Nick Sko is the kind of horse that's easy to be a fan of. He just goes out there and makes them run as fast as they can. And, you know, you think of his Breeders' Cup Mile where he dueled the complexity. Yeah, Greg? Go ahead.
I was going to say 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today. So there's still time for them to back out. I just feel as though he's a horse that's not going to win if he rates, like what happened in Saudi Arabia. And I don't believe as fast as he is, he's as fast as Life is Good. And I'll tell you one thing. If they're going to run him, and it's his last career start, Life is Good better get tied on. Because they're not taking him back. They're not doing what they did in Saudi. They're going.
They have to be in front, no question. And, yes, this is it for him. Final start of an incredible career, and it's all cards on the table.
Yeah, no, right. You got to let it all hang out. And listen, I mean, it would be a fun way to start the year to have a matchup between those two horses. I'm a big Life is Good fan, but Nick's Good go as well. We'll see what happens.
Any
I hope they
chance, can I dream of this scenario that Nick Sko just runs so good? They say, let's just keep him in training for the rest of the year.
You can dream of it. I cannot control either what you dream of, whether it works out or not, but feel free to let me stop you.
2 weeks away from, this really could be the most anticipated head-to-head matchup in how long?
No,
a couple of decades.
I agree. You know, I mean, I know the California Chrome Arrogate matchup after the Breeders' Cup Classic, which unfortunately didn't work out with the draw the California Chrome got, was a big. But this would be a big matchup. I mean, these are two monstrous names. A horse who's going to be the horse of the year. He's going to be coronated a few days before, and then running against Life is Good, who's developed quite a big, justifiable fan base. They're not as good as Flightline, but they're pretty good, those horses.
Flightline, by the way, looking at the Met Mile, I don't think going to be facing Concert Tour there.
No, nor is he worried about facing Concert Tour.
Horse who, by the way, listed as one of your finalists in the Eclipse Awards for Sprint Champion.
Concert Tour?
Flightline.
Oh.
We're going to take a time out. We'll be back. More coming up. The finale next from Hot Springs.
Coming up alongside of Ticonderoga, Good Samaritan won it.
And Good Samaritan has gone on by very easily.
Good Samaritan in his dirt debut, and he's gone by them all. Good Samaritan has won the Jim Dandy.
We're back. Greg Wolf, Andy Sterling with you. Gary Stevens and JK as well. Jonathan Kitchen. We have the nightcap coming up here from Oaklawn. Allowance optional claiming field for Arkansas-bred runners sprinting 6 furlongs. Pretty competitive one to close it out.
I agree. I mean, we're all looking forward to seeing what the 2 can do. Miss Mo Choctaw, after that super impressive debut. I'm interested in the 10. I'm a bling cat. Second off a layoff. I think second off a layoff. Yes, second off a layoff.
And a hunch play as well. Steve Hobby.
Because I'm a bling.
You wear a lot of bling. Martin
Mr.
Garcia.
Bling.
Yeah, at double-digit odds right now at 10-1.
Yeah, this horse made a big middle move last time out before flattening out, and sometimes that's a good sign for a horse off a layoff. But listen, if Mo Choctaw runs back to his debut, they're going to have to. He's going to take a lot of beating. He was impressive.
That's the 2 horse. So Mo Choctaw, his debut, he won by 11+ lengths, and he was expected to run that kind of race in the debut. He was the 4-5 favorite. It was state bred maiden 50. This is facing winners for the first time. That's a big figure too.
Is a big figure. What about the 12 Garhole? Not quite as impressive a figure, but looked pretty good breaking his maiden in an Arkansas. That was a maiden, Arkansas maiden special weight. This is a maiden. That was a maiden claimer that Mo Choctaw won.
Yeah, I actually, you look at those 2 races, and the bigger figure was Mo Choctaw, but I prefer Garhole.
Really?
Because it was, improvement off a layoff. It was against a better, you would think anyway, group. And it was being able to sit off the pace, but now drawn all the way outside. Is that a concern?
I mean, it's always a bit of a concern. He's got some speed, so he should be able to get over. 11 Goodnight Archie inside of him may have some speed, but I don't think he's supposed to get hung up. He just got to be a little aggressive out of there to get position, right?
Ricardo Santana Jr. will be aboard for trainer John Ortiz on the 12, who's co-favorite right now at 2-1. We got riders up. We'll have the post parade here coming up in just a moment. I want to remind everyone watching on FS1, you can play all these races by getting signed up with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com. You can download the app as well, and that's the offer currently going on. $200 deposit match sign-up bonus for new members. Punch in that promo code BONUS200 at sign-up and bet any track, anywhere, anytime, as we're about to get set really in earnest to head down this Triple Crown Trail for 2022.
No, I agree. I mean, and it's going to be an interesting year because Jack Christopher, he is back in Chad Brown's barn, but he may not be able to make it, and obviously a lot of questions for him. But who is the big standout? There's nobody out there that you feel like they got to beat this guy. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of different horses develop.
Yeah, Corniche obviously going to be the 2-year-old champion off that juvenile Wimbledon horse who right now is not eligible even unless things change to run on the Kentucky Derby.
Right. I mean, and a lot came out this week, obviously, and there's absolutely no confirmation or feeling that horse will be eligible for the Derby. And I don't know. It's, they can switch barns. And even do you really love him going 1.25 miles?
Yeah, I mean, there's a very strong possibility. Would you agree with this, that we've not even seen the Kentucky Derby winner yet?
There's always that possibility. I wouldn't say that. There's a possibility there's somebody that we're not that aware of. Is that more fair?
Yeah. Here's the one, holding pattern, 25-1, David Cabrera. This horse coming off a win last time out against a very soft group and claimed out of that race. Not going to take a step up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't I didn't like him. I like some others.
Here's Mo Choctaw. Can he step up off that impressive debut?
Yeah, he's the one to beat. He's the one to beat in here. He was impressive, but the competition has gotten a lot steeper.
Private Lake, 4-time winner.
He's got the experience with these. He's off a long layoff, though, coming in from Prairie Meadows.
Rubiginous just went by at 15-1. Here's Data Storm.
Data Storm. Another one coming in from Prairie Meadows, and we'll see. He probably has to improve to be competitive.
This one here, back on dirt, and he is fast early.
Yeah, he is. He does feel like he feels like speed, but there's other speeds. I mean, I think there's faster horses. The 2-11 may be faster than him.
Here's Citrus Bay. Francisco Arrieta will ride. Big drop.
Yeah, what do you do with this guy? He ran so well at Canterbury, but I just don't know if he's good enough. I don't think he's fast enough.
Here's Navy SEAL, multiple winner, who's 13-1 on the board with Calvin Burrell.
Yeah. His last race, he would have to improve a lot off that. He had a fast figure 2 back, but it sort of stands alone, with his other races.
Horse with 5 seconds and a couple of wins. Captain Don just went by, and here's the gray I'm a Bling Cat, who you like.
I am betting on I'm a Bling Cat in this race. I got a little extra in my bankroll, Greg, as you know right now.
Coming out of a 40,000 starter allowance, you just had a nice W. Good Night Archie at 9-1, Giovanni Franco.
I wish Maggie was here. There used to be a horse that ran here named Archie that Maggie and I loved on the name, but this one would have to improve.
And here's Garhole, second time out, major move forward. It was off about an 11-month layoff, and it was against State-Bred Maiden Special for John Ortiz.
You know, this is it's interesting, Greg. Let me ask you a question. This horse must be very good in the sheets because the buyer figures this one is a lot slower than the 2, but is now favored. Does this one have a better sheet number than the 2 or comparable?
I'd be honest, I didn't look at it for this race.
Okay.
But, Santana obviously going to take attention, and it was an impressive maiden win against seemingly, at least on paper, a better group than the 2. Let's go to Gary, get his thoughts here on this nightcap.
Yeah, guys, Mo Choctaw in his first race for maiden 50,000. He was so impressive. I think they got away with stealing that day. It was 90 cents on the dollar. He ran off the TV screen. Got a good buyer, came back, speed figure. But he is stepping up in class today. Andy, I'm going to give you a horse to put in the exacta with your 10 horse, the 11 horse. Good Night Archie. I'll tell you some backstory. Tammy Hornsby, his trainer, had come to me early in the meet. She said, I've got this colt that I'd like Giovanni to ride. I'm going to run him in one condition over his head first time. He's a big, heavy horse. He only does so much in the mornings. And he didn't really disappoint. That was non-winners of 2. He's back in with non-winners of 2 lifetime today, so it's a drop in class for him. He looks a lot tighter out on the racetrack today. I expect him to jump forward and run a big race as well. Guys?
All right, Gary's got me. I'm going to use the 10 with the 11. In the exact. I bet a little to win on the 10. And what's that? Who likes 11? Jonathan? Ooh.
JK, you agree with Gary?
I always agree with Gary. Yeah, I think always. Is there a time? Yeah. I thought Beholder won for sure and over Songbird. I think Gary and I always agree. I like Goodnight Archie for a couple of reasons. One is we've unfortunately I say things enough. Sometimes we have some drinking games closing into a slow pace, 10 strike. The other one you could probably have for me here on the show is tactical speed drawn outside. It's one of my favorite angles in dirt racing. Goodnight Archie was the opposite of that. Speed on the inside, stuck down on the inside with pressure to the outside. I love horses that are coming in off of layoffs that run well like that. Have to take that pressure. Fast pace figures early, and now they're drawn outside. A much more comfortable trip. They should be more fit off of that situation, and they have some ability from the outside. So not only do you get Gary's chalk, Giovanni, and you get Gary's experience with the conversations that he had about this horse going to run well, you're drawn towards the outside with some tactical speed.
Which, usually could be a good thing. And you're getting for even another positive point here, double-digit odds at 11-1 with Goodnight Archie, who is actually beaten I'm a Bling Cat, who you like in the past, who we're looking at right now.
Well, I hope that we can combine for a 10-11, 11-10 finish here. We'll see. Interesting betting among the 2 favorites because I think it was hard to predict, considering the maiden race they ran, that the 12 would be favored over the 2. Greg.
Yeah, that is surprising. That was such a huge figure that Mo Choctaw earned. But you got to prove it here. It's not only facing winners for the first time, but a bigger jump up in class. But you look at that workout too, and it's tough to know what Connections wanted from those works. But quickest of 111 in the morning, the bullet drill out of that win.
He's no morning glory. He works well in the morning and he runs well in the afternoon. Greg, we're almost done. It's just gone by so fast. You want to do this again tomorrow? Want to do this again tomorrow, you and I?
Yeah, we'll do it again tomorrow,
Excellent.
No question, with a pick 6 carryover from Aqueduct as we return to racing here in New York. Poor weather canceled things today. But we're not done here. We have this finale coming up before we say goodbye. And Vic Stauffer with the call to close out this card here in Hot Springs.
Rubiginous. Goodnight Archie. Data Storm. Stomping Hot Rod. And last to load, Garhole. They're at the post. They're off. Slow start, holding pattern. Good start. Data Storm and Mo Choctaw. Goodnight Archie is close up, so is Captain Don. Navy Seal is between horses. Then comes Stompin' Hot Rod, I'm a Bling Cat, and Garhole to the outside. Next comes Rebiginous, followed by Citrus Bay and Private Lake. And the slow start has holding pattern at the back of the pack. Mo Choctaw into the far turn. He leads Data Storm by just over a length. Goodnight Archie is 3 deep with Captain Don just inside of him. Garhole is advanced to 5th now, and he's on the move. Here's Garhole outside of I'm a Bling Cat. Rebiginous, Navy Seal, and Stompin' Hot Rod all have about 7 to make up. They're 2 in front of Citrus Bay. Private Lake is second to last. Holding pattern is the trailer, and Mo Choctaw is still the leader. It is Mo Choctaw just in front from Goodnight Archie. Garhole all the way up into a joint second now, and here's Garhole on the move. Then comes Navy Seal. At the rail, Data Storm, I'm a Bling Cat, new leader Garhole. Garhole is now 3 lengths in front of Goodnight Archie, Navy Seal, and I'm a Bling Cat, but Garhole is now just running up the score. It is Garhole far in front of Navy Seal. Garhole in front. Geared down, he won it by 6.5. Navy Seal was second, Goodnight Archie third, Data Storm finished 4th.
Garhole just dominant in this performance. In the 12 of the 2 very close in the wagering. This was no contest.
Well, you're right about this horse. 2 broke a step slow, rushed up, but he had no answer. This horse won in a canter down the stretch. Nice call by the guys with the 11, by the way. I think finished 3rd at a nice price in there. Actually ran very well to finish 3rd in there. My horse never really got into it. I think he may have been 4th, but no, as they say, no doubt about it, winner. A good call, Greg. That horse was an hour and a half the best.
Slight second choice at 2-1 here at Garhole. So now back-to-back wins. I'm excited to see this horse come back next time.
Yeah, no. Looking forward to those Arkansas breds and looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. We'll do it again, 2:30 to 4:30, you and me.
2:30 to 4:30 on FS2, and then 4:30 to 5:30 on FS1 tomorrow on Sunday. Don't forget Pick 6 carryover on the Sunday card. We look forward to it. We will see you then. We had a fun day of action on this Saturday card from Tampa and from Oaklawn. And the Gasparilla outfoxed. Well, she made it 3 in a row for Bill Mott. She's been impressive tackling Open Company on this occasion. Wayward Lass, Nantucket Red, more of a turf horse, proving can win on dirt. We'll see you tomorrow.